Welcome back to the Harbingers D&D campaign. Woo! We are so excited to be back with you guys to continue the story and to play some D&D. With that, we do have two announcements today. Number one, we do have merchandise. It's on our website. Check it out. It's pretty cool. Harbingers merch. Got lots of original artwork on there, so check that out. Also, second one, this is really important. So we are going to, starting September 8th, correct me if I'm wrong, Sierra, September 8th, we are going to be switching our streams to YouTube. So we are going to be streaming live straight to YouTube. We will no longer be using Twitch, unfortunately. So if you guys just want to switch over to our YouTube platform at that point, starting September 8th, we will be streaming live to YouTube at the same time that we do it on Fridays. So Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's our big announcement. September 8th, YouTube switch. So, and that's going to be a permanent switch, at least for now. With that, anything I missed here on that? Yes?
So September 8th will also be a recap session of the entire last arc we had.
Perfect. Yes, recap session. It's going to rock. I will not be there, but all these lovely players will be here to recap the session, recap the arc for you guys to help catch up on that. Any other announcements anyone else wanted to say? Or are we good with announcements? No? Okay, awesome. Without further ado, we will go to the
I do have one.
Oh, yes.
We love you guys.
Aww. Yes, we do love you guys. You guys are amazing. That should be given. You're wonderful. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Dane. With that, we will go straight into our recap of last session, done by none other than Sierra.
Okay, so last session was the end of killing Cleo, the leader of the Jackalware pack, and then we took some treasure from her secret vault, where we also found a magical river, and a snake was given a bow and named, I think, Sally the snake, I think was her name. And from there, we went and killed a bunch of Jackalwares and saved the Valkyries. Douse spared one of them. He spared one of them, and
what did Nuri do?
Nuri killed it and then hid its body. And then they got all the Valkyries, learned one of them had been beaten and tortured so much that she had literally died, and that's when Morwen decided to help the Jackalwares to keep other people in her group from dying. And one of the Valkyries was super, super sick. So we got the dead body to sick friend, the rest of the Valkyries, and we started to leave, but we're like, wait, let's just take all the treasure. So we went back to the treasure room, completely wiped it clean of every single coin, and we learned that Merilla has never seen platinum before. And then from there, they left the den, escaped alive, fled, and slept in the nice cave that Dusty had made for them a couple nights before. At that point, they decided to go separate ways. The Valkyries would go for the one diamond that is left to be known, still around. And some theories were tossed around of why there are no more diamonds. Is something draining the world of minerals? And then, once morning arose, we were talking, and Nuri said some hurtful things to Merilla about her being a monster, when Merilla was like, I know what you're thinking. And Nuri was like, no, I was thinking this girl was super slow because she gave us information we already knew. And she was like, oh. And then Nuri said some things where she didn't think she was any humanoid creature, which then led into a fight, which then led into Nuri dropping some more about her husband leaving and the other dark elves who had come for him, which then led to people being like, well, you should tell us everything. And she was like, fine, I will tell you everything. But she was super emotional and upset and all over the place. And so Douse stepped up and was like, whoa, let's just travel for 30 minutes and then she can tell us. And that's where we are starting, is 30 minutes after that drive. Did I miss anything?
I don't
No?
think so.
Okay.
Well, without further ado,
We are. I don't know if we already have or if we are about to, but we're splitting off from the Valkyries at this point.
yes.
Yes.
So I'm gonna just
That happened a long time ago. Keep up.
That happened 1 week ago.
It's been a week. You've been
I am
traveling.
going to delete the Valkyries from off of the map.
They were.
It already split off into our separate manta sleds to
Yes.
leave. That's how long ago it was.
And I think Amaris was driving this time.
Merilla
there's
went with Dusty.
Ah, there we go. I don't know where Nuri is. But,
She's right underneath Merilla.
well, just like which sled.
She has a
she's
choice of two
Oh.
sleds.
She's probably with Amaris. The cousins tend to stick together.
There we go.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Okay.
And in all seriousness, does Nuri trust anyone else at this point?
That's
Like
a fair
anyone
question.
besides Amaris or just
That's-
anyone in general?
I mean,
That's-
I feel
It's a fair question.
not to speak for Nuri, but I feel like she would trust Dusty.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, Douse brought her back to life.
Sure.
True.
But Merilla kind of did the same for
Technically.
Douse, and Merilla doesn't trust Douse.
Well, we'll see. Okay. So we've been riding. Has it come to the end of the ride? Dia?
I'm gonna say it has been 30 minutes and you are taking a fat nap, Nori, because that is what you said you were going to do. Very fat nap. And 30 minutes turns into an hour of traveling, turns into 2 hours of traveling, turns into 3 hours of traveling.
This is a very fat nap.
Turns
Almost all of her rest
into-
time for now.
Yeah,
Just leave her-
literally. I just
Leave her
took
be, leave her be.
another
She's
night.
tired.
Does that mean Nuri has a full long?
Can I say
Darn it,
I'm
I
keeping
should've
my
used some
eye out?
spells.
Can I say I'm keeping my eye out for sandworms or something? Just in
Yeah,
case.
yes, you can.
Marilla
Okay.
I'm gonna
assists.
say, okay, perfect. I'm gonna say you guys find another area, Dusty, that you deem as suitable and safe enough to park and take a break. Because you're all a little tired from driving. The mantas are tired and thirsty. And Nori, about this time you wake up. So this comes into midday. You're all a little hungry, thirsty. The mantas are hungry and thirsty.
Most of us are hungry and thirsty. And most of us are tired.
Except
Just
for
wanted to correct those facts.
Most of them, except for Dusty.
Okay. Once the group comes to stop for some food, Nuri will definitely get some food out and take a
Douse
sip of the
will-
magical water.
Douse will break out his dozen biscuits he still has.
Got some biscuits.
You're gonna
you
eat all
split that?
dozen?
No, he splits it among the party.
Oh, okay. You just like didn't say anything for a hot minute, and
Sorry,
I
I
was
was-
like, dang, okay.
I was looking at my inventory to make sure I had that taken care of before. I was like, oh, the next dress, I bring out my dozen biscuits.
Alrighty.
I would suggest some hot chocolate with these, but we're already in the desert. Does anyone have some chocolate milk?
I've got water.
I can make the water taste like chocolate milk.
I was joking,
Oh,
but that'd be cool.
Nuri will use prestidigitation to make her water taste like chocolate milk.
Warm chocolate milk. Nice. That's not bad. That's not bad.
At that point, it's just hot chocolate.
Dusty does accept the biscuit that is handed to him, and he kind of looks at it. He just kind of eyes it for a second. And he actually is going to he's going to look around. Is there any private area where he could just, talk to someone one-on-one without?
The other side of the rock.
Merilla is separate from everybody.
Okay, that's sad. That is important. Actually, that's smart because Dusty was looking around, so he does notice that. He's like, "Oh, So he's going to walk over with his biscuit now, and he's going to just kind of move it to where Merilla can see it with his hand. He's going to give her the biscuit.
Merilla looks at the biscuit. She looks at because height difference. Anyway.
Douse has moved on at this point, so he doesn't even notice that Dusty's not eating it.
Okay.
Good.
Well, that's very kind of you, Dusty. It sounds weird to say. But if anybody tells you that you're unkind, never believe them. I won't accept it, though. I think you should have it, even though I guess you don't really need it.
He brings it back forwards in front of him, and he kind of nods to himself, and he says, "Well, thank you."
Do you need to eat? Since she kind of gestures to all of you.
Dusty kind of looks over his shoulder towards Douse to make sure he's not over here. He's cycling that way,
After he gave everybody biscuits, he'd be like, kind of make sure there's no tensions, and then he'd probably go take care of the animals. So that's probably where he's at.
Okay.
Dusty, he shakes his head. He says, "No, I need rest at the end of a night, but he shrugs. I don't need to eat. I can taste food. I just don't need to."
Oh. That's weird. You don't have to eat, but you can still taste. Actually, you know what? That'd be really handy. So you can eat as much as you want.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, effectively, yes, I could eat as much as I want. It's and he kind of tilts his head to the side. He says, "It's a process."
No, all right. Maybe there's some little animals around you can give it to instead.
And he nods. He says, "I'm sure I could find something." For now, though, and he kind of places it in his bag, and then he says, "If you ever want to talk, I have open ears for it. If that hasn't been made clear already."
You mean literally or figuratively?
He kind of looks up, and he's like, "Figuratively."
She nods at you. Totally dismissing the fact that we were just, in the sled for so many hours.
Yep. I'm assuming that trip was silent, by the way, completely silent, because he's not going to engage anything, and you're not saying anything. So yeah, that 3 hours of just pure silence. He nods, and then he goes over to see if he can help feed the mantis.
After some time has passed, where people have had some food, the mantis have been taken care of, Nuri's going to just stand up and like take a few, like look at her notebook a little bit, close it,
This is fun.
just be like, kind of clap her hands, be like, could everyone just gather around? I have some apologies to make, a story to tell. It's gonna be grand.
Merilla waddles over. You really don't have anything to be sorry about, Nuri.
Well, obviously I do, because I hurt your feelings. So, yes.
Let's do groups up too.
And I owe no apology to Douse. I have kept killing the people you have been sparing, and I apologize for that. And Dusty, I have said some things I should not have said, and I apologize for that.
He waves his hand.
And Merilla, I have been careless about the words I have chosen to use. When I said monster, I was thinking just a large creature with a lot of power, not actually someone who went around killing tons of ships. That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking like a siren or a cool underwater sea beast that was like super deep in the water. So
She's like,
it's not better. I recognize that. I just don't think you're human, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just think you're more powerful than you realize.
she just moves her wrinkles again on her cheek.
Douse will lean back to Dusty like, does she realize that sirens and underwater monsters still kill a lot of people?
I don't know much about it, but I assume she knows something about it.
They're still not good comparison.
And Amaris, at this time, I don't have a lot of things I can think of that I actually need to apologize because you've been just like super amazing. But I am sorry if I have offended you or grossed you out with my necrotic magic. I apologize for that.
No, you're good.
You're great. Okay.
But before you go on, you don't need to say anything that you're not comfortable saying. I will say that first. But also, in my situation, I understand I have a high aversion to taking life. And I don't mean to put my beliefs on you or anything, so I apologize for that. I appreciate your willingness to at least consider how it affects. So
I accept your apology. And to be honest, I actually don't enjoy killing people. This is the most lives I've taken. I got into necromancy to bring people back from the dead, not to kill them. So, but I have killed a lot of people. Not as much as Merilla. She's killed the most out of us. I've kept track.
Merilla doesn't chuckle at that. I chuckle at that.
fair enough. I'm not going to tell you not to do necromancy because I know you're trying to do good with it, but if you could at least keep it out of my sight, I would appreciate it.
Noted. I will do
Douse,
my
we're here
best.
to listen to Nuri.
I know. This is
Then
something I've been
quiet.
trying to say for a while. I'll be quiet.
I respect that. Honestly, I do. I will do my best from now on not to put necromancy in your sight. It may still happen, as I have plans for tonight to bring something back from the dead, but I will walk away.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that. And then he
so
just
much.
goes to the back of the group and he kind of just,
How are we sitting? If I said back of the group, my brain was thinking circle. It probably is not that important.
I'm gonna adjust it on the board.
I assumed it was kind of like Nuri and then a bunch of us. Even though no.
I was thinking it kind of like, okay, everyone gather in a circle. It's story time.
Put your figures on the board where you would think you are.
Okay, I'll say, which side are we saying are we talking on?
Let's
I'm gonna say I'm
go
talking here.
over. Oh, okay.
I'm talking
I was
right
gonna
there.
say to the right, so there's more area, but
Then we have to move the mantis.
I just moved him a little bit.
Okay, so she's kind of like talking like this. Cool. Okay. Questions are welcome. I love asking questions. Yeah. Okay. So let me do the math real quick of how long ago this was. Wait, how long ago was this?
2 years ago?
2 years ago? Okay, 2 years ago.
Are you referring to the incident?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
okay, 2 years ago. 2 springs ago, I was with my son Ami. He was doing this little paint by number ocean. As I was reading to him this fairy tale book that my husband Esmond had brought back for me when we were still courting. And at this time, I actually didn't know any magic, which is kind of important to note. So I just read a lot, but I didn't have any fighting skills. I didn't have any magical skills. Magic has actually come really hard to me. Yeah. But as I was reading to Ami, there was like a quick movement in the shadows, and you think nothing of it. You think it's just the torchlight flickering. And so I had looked and, whatever, gone back to reading, and then there was like a shadow that crossed in front of us, and then I knew we weren't alone. And there were 2 strange dark elves I didn't know, and they attacked us from behind, and they had Ami, and they told me I shouldn't have happened, that Esmond and I shouldn't have happened. And they had actually kind of cut my neck because they were going to kill me right then. And she kind of like lowers her the collar on her outfit, because both her desert outfit and her normal outfit, if you have noticed, have a higher collar. And at like the base of her neck, there is a scar. Where they held the knife. Sword. I guess it was a sword. And Esmond, he appeared out of the shadows, which I didn't know he could do at that moment. He literally just appeared out of the shadows, and he fought them. And I couldn't do anything to help. I had no magic. I didn't know how to use any weapons. And so I just grabbed Ami, and we had stood at the back of our small little cottage in the woods as he fought these 2 men. But, they're all very skilled fighters. All of them were. And he was losing. And he was standing between the 2 dark elves and me and my son, and they she's gonna like pull out her notebook, and she's gonna like pull to the very front of the notebook, the very front, to the specific words they said, which she had written down. Let me scroll back up to where it was. Let's see, where was it? I have to look through all my notes. Yes. They told Esmond that the Heralder was calling, and that now was the time to prove his loyalty to the Heralder by killing Ami and me. He stood in front of us for a little bit. And then he said he was making his choice. And then he turned and he, with magic, destroyed the ceiling above Ami and me, crushing us underneath the weight of the roof. I blacked out for a bit. When I came to, I was able to get my son and I out of the wreckage, but he wasn't waking up. And I had found a friend at a temple, and he, at that moment, I guess I didn't realize he had died, but he actually did, because my mothers said they had seen him in the afterlife, so that means he actually did die. But then he was in a coma. So my husband, Esmond, did leave. He is gone. He's not dead. I don't believe so. But he's working for the Heralder. And that is why I don't like shadows. It's because any of the dark elves can travel through them so far that I have seen. And this is why I freaked out when you talked about the Heralder, Merilla, because no one but those elves up to that point in my life, over literally 61 springs at that point, had ever mentioned the Heralder. Ever. And then you just casually mentioned the Heralder and the shadows, and I freaked out. I did. And I pointed the knife at you, and I should not have done that, and that was wrong. So I apologize for that. And that is why I also have had a hard time with you, Douse, because you don't tell us what's going on and you act really suspicious. And that honestly freaks me out because I didn't ask enough questions of my husband. All I knew for the 18 years we were together was that he had a dark past, he had done some bad things, and I didn't ask enough questions. And if I had, I could have been prepared, done something to protect Ami, but because I wasn't, I didn't ask enough questions. And that's why I have a hard time trusting you, Douse, as well. It's because you just have all these secrets and they don't add up, they don't make sense, and that scares me. So, yeah, any questions? This is why I don't like the Heralder. The Heralder is awful. We have proof now that he is involved also with getting my cousin in a coma as well. That's great.
Amaris is just gonna take Nuri's hand comfortingly. Like, she doesn't know what to say, but this is all she can do right now.
You notice her hand is shaking.
I understand I haven't been the most truthful. I apologize for causing you this distrust and discomfort. I'm just trying to figure some stuff out. Mostly, I guess you've all probably guessed about now, but about my bracelet. Didn't used to do these things, and it's all new to me, so I'm trying to figure it out. However, I appreciate your honesty, and I will say that I've never known the Heralder, so I hope that gives you a little bit of peace of mind with that. I am sorry for your loss. That's a very heavy situation.
Thank you. Questions? Questions are good. Have any questions? No? That's it? Okay.
So are you looking for your husband or what?
No. I'm looking for a way to wake my son up.
Okay.
I honestly don't know what I'll do if I see Esmond.
Gotcha. I was under the assumption you were looking for both, so I apologize.
You don't need to apologize. I mean, part of me wants to find him. Part of me is afraid to.
You would know that. She cut herself off. So Nuri, you said other dark elves came for him, and that he was fighting them. They're the ones that tried to kill you and your son. And you never heard of the Heralder until that moment?
Nope.
Remember, I've been awake for 70-some summers. And in the South, we talk about the Herald all the time as a bedtime story, like I've told you. I understand we're different races. We are different races. And we have different cultures coming from different races. But still, this boggles my mind. And you said that you think that the Heralder is connected to the comas. Why? How is that? What is the connection? Because we
He's
have
not
understood.
necessarily connected directly to the comas. He's just been involved with people dying and being resurrected, and then they're in the comas. So it's more the killing people part.
Right?
I mean, whatever being is doing this has to be pretty powerful, in my opinion. Because, I mean, resurrection magic and all that is a gift from the gods, so to say.
I mean, not really, but continue.
Well, yes and no. I mean, yes. I view it as that, but
it's all magic, though, that can be learned. Bards can resurrect people. They don't need to follow a god to do it. So it's actually
Wait, I
not
can't?
I did not know this as a player.
Yeah.
I
If
didn't
you
know
have
this
any
either.
Spells, you have access to the resurrection spells as well.
I thought it was always only clerics or paladins,
Nope.
Oh,
and
bards have it
potentially
too.
warlocks.
I don't know. Wizards can do. Well, I guess it depends. Some
Wizards
sorcerers can do
don't
it.
have access to normal healing magic.
Okay, lies then. Some sorcerers can.
I mean, I don't know for sure. I'd have to actually look at spells in the future because, like, we can do the light resurrection thing of keeping people from turning into undead and extending their life, but that's necromancy magic.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe, but not really. But it's really much more clerics and paladins, and then also I know bards can. If not all bards, a specific class can because they can take spells from pretty much anyone else, like 2 spells, at least. So bards can't. Like, it can be learned. So it's not necessarily from the gods. Okay, my bad. Continue. Sorry.
Well, dang, now I've got to learn this spell.
I mean, I grew up in a very religious area, so I apologize for my lack of knowledge on that part. But
No, I completely respect that. It's different cultures and
Different
beliefs. Any other questions?
High or low?
Low.
Oh, I have to roll something now. I was thinking so hard about whether or not I wanted to do this. I forgot to grab a die. I'll do it online. That is low, my friend.
Ooh, gotta
Okay.
mark it on the board.
I do. First, I have. What's this?
Yeah,
I
do it first.
Role play first.
First,
Yeah, role play the first.
So Dusty has been staying silent for most of this time. But then he kind of pipes up after this resurrection talk, and he says, "So you were on the hill. I don't know if we talked about this already, but you said that your son was seen by someone that you talked to. Did they talk about how he was brought back? And do you remember how? And if so, does that correlate with how you were brought back?"
No. So when you die, there are people who are connected to you, which come for you that have already crossed, to help you with crossing the fence to the part where you can no longer be resurrected. And my adopted mother, who everyone pretty much outside of this circle only knows her as my birth mom, but she's not actually my birth mom, and she's the aunt to Amaris. She was there, and then my actual birth mom, who I never got to meet in life, so death's kind of cool, was there, and I got to talk to her, and both of them passed way before Ami was born, but they had been called to the fence, and they saw a boy there with an elf boy with red hair. He was there, and they had seen him, and he collapsed in pain and then vanished. Much like how Amaris' sister and my cousin also vanished. It was through that pain. The pain came, and then they're in a coma state, which implies that something is probably taking them. Or whatever it is that's taking the minerals. Maybe it's somehow crept into the hillside, and maybe there's patches of pain, or maybe it's somehow connected to diamonds that are bringing people back, and maybe certain diamonds have been corrupted, so when they try to bring someone back, instead it's just putting them in a coma state and their soul is being ejected somewhere else. Or I don't know. So many questions, so many questions. Does that answer your question, Bessie?
Yes, it does. And he nods, and then just kind of goes silent again.
I do have a question. Do you think, by chance, the Heralder is the one taking souls from the afterlife? Because Dane did say that something had her. And that was bringing the pain and was keeping her from coming back.
On one hand, it's a long shot for it to be directly the Heralder that is doing it, but on the other hand, it seems like the Heralder is trying to control powerful ancient creatures, like the false Hydra had the bracelet, and we now know for sure that comes from the Dark Elves working with the Heralder. We know that for sure. So it is possible that maybe there is a very ancient creature that works with death on the hillside that the Heralder has taken control of. It's a long shot, though. Yes, Merilla?
Are Lamia's ancient creatures? Because the Lamia also had a bracelet, the only other bracelet thing that we've seen so far.
Would I know if it's an ancient creature, DM, from all my studying over the years of fantasy books?
Yeah, you would know that, technically a Lamia is an ancient creature. Every race, every creature is technically ancient in its own way, going back. Long-lived, is that what you're asking?
No, more I guess, rare, has
archaic in nature.
Something as ancient and Arcadian type as the false Hydra, I'm guessing, but I don't.
Yeah,
because the false Hydra, there's one or two in existence,
Yeah.
Is it a shiny?
Lamias are more common than that. Not super common, but there's probably a good handful of them. You could probably count them on two hands, and about that would be the amount that exists.
Would any of those have been included in the scattering, or relatively close to the creatures that were scattered?
Lamias is, you know that like a lot of that, like the scattering itself, which for our viewers was this ancient event that happened 2,000 springs ago, where basically a whole bunch of high-level monsters were scattered in the sense of taken out of this plane of existence and plopped into another one by the gods. That's what everyone says it is. And so you know that from like the scattering itself dealt with more like high level monsters, so dragons, aboleths, demons, tarasques, like crazy high level giant monsters. And so like Lamias, some of those smaller monsters might be included in the scattering, like if they gained enough power and authority, then they could have been like scattered, but they also weren't deemed as much of a threat. Like the scattering was more of threat level to humanoid existence. You know?
Well, most Lamias don't have the power to be like ancient scattering level, but they are, they've been around for a long time, and there's not a lot of them in existence, so I would say they are one of those more rare, magical, ancient-like creatures. So, like a false hydra as well. There's not really that many false hydras. It's kind of bizarre that we even came across one. Like, they're kind of legends. They're not really
real. False hydras would be one that you would know would have probably also been scattered.
And they were definitely scattered, which is then mind-boggling that there's one on this plane of existence. So, there's that.
So here's another question, Nuri. So you mentioned that the Dark Elves that came to kill you and your boy. How old is your son, by the way?
Let me do some math.
He would be 10 now.
He's 10 now? I thought he was 6. Wait, is he 10?
No, because he was 8 when the event happened.
He's so old, and he didn't even get to live those years. This is sad.
How do I remember more of the dates in your backstory? I have a horrible memory.
I'm keeping like the entire campaign in my head. Okay,
you know what?
The
fair.
dates are. I'm an
Head
elf.
and
We don't
book.
keep track of dates. I'm a
Okay.
long-lived race.
He's only 10. Oh, she is small.
Oh yeah.
But getting up there, if we look at it in a human perspective. So you mentioned when they came to kill you both that the attacking Dark Elves said that you and your husband shouldn't have happened. Do you know what that meant? I don't really know much about elves. Your kind tends to keep to themselves in their own void of existence, and when I have met them, they just kind of. Well, it really depends on the elf. She's holding back stuff, you can tell.
I assume that it's because dark elves, by most of societies, are feared and frowned upon. My father had even warned me against marrying a dark elf. He said it wouldn't end well. Which so far he's been right. But that's kind of how it is for forbidden loves, right? Things that should not happen. Again, actually, this I'm going to tell you about my mother. Should never leave this circle because it could literally get me killed. She also actually was a forbidden love that should not have happened. And for it, she was killed by her own family,
birth mother?
actually. Yeah, my birth mother.
Oh, like mother, like daughter, then I guess.
Yeah, shouldn't have happened. Different clans, as it were. Different clans, yeah. Shouldn't have happened.
And so your marrying a dark elf was like marrying in these different clans, but the next level.
I wouldn't say it was the next like higher level, but it's the same
The next
concept.
stage, next thing.
It's a similar concept, I would say. I would think what my father and mother did was much more severe than what I did, for sure. I think, but now I could be wrong because the Heralder is causing a lot of problems. But I didn't know he was attached to the Heralder. He had done some bad
know
things.
who the Heralder was, it sounds like.
I have a quick question for you, Merilla. At this point, you'll see Douse had his entire left side's kind of soaked in water, and there's like a spot on the ground like he tried to hide it. But he's not going to address it at all.
Yeah.
You said the Heralder was in like children's stories. Was he usually depicted in I guess a good lighting? Like, was he a good person or?
No. No,
Okay,
he would come to gobble up naughty children from the shadows.
Okay.
Well, most legends do tend to be based in truth. So if he might not be a dark elf, he might be some other being, but if he is a dark elf who travels through shadows, that would make sense of the base of the legend. Yeah,
I just wanted to ask just to make sure that there wasn't any conflicting opinions of this being, creature. I don't know what he is.
Well, I have already stated what I know about him.
Yes. Yeah. That
But
was
there's
a lack
something
on.
to add to what Nuri said. The descriptions that we always talk about, at least in the South, are that he's kind of humanoid. He's dark skinned, and she kind of like raises her eyebrows meaningfully. Pointy eared, comes out with glowing red eyes. Also travels from shadow to shadow. Sounds a lot like these dark elves.
Yeah.
I've never met one before.
I mean, there was the one in that room, right, with Cleo, but
didn't talk.
There's loud thunder just now.
The ghosts.
These. No, something else we talk about in the South is that the heralder will herald himself, always, with the ringing of a bell. Or that you can herald the heralder with a bell. How exactly? I never really sought to find out. Funny, silly rumors. Did I get that right, DM?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is canon, have confirmation, in-game mythos. Let's go.
I mean, I've told a lot of people lots of things that, some of them are true, some of them are rumors, but, rumors always have some form of truth to them.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, how would they be rumors? I mean, unless someone really wanted to spread around lies.
Every fact's reality. Yes. If the heralder is involved, Amaris, when you were on the hill, did you hear a bell at all?
Quick question for the DM. Don't remember that. Did I?
Hear a bell when?
When I was at the hill, at either point. like with saving Dane or
No, you did not hear about.
no, I didn't.
Maybe that party's just a rumor. Make little kids paranoid of their ears and their eyes. What they hear and what they see.
Maybe.
Merilla, was your memory affected at all by drinking the magic water?
No.
Inside check.
I will spoil it for you. That was me being unsure for a second there. But we can have, yeah, she also does like, no, but it's more like a sort of thing.
Inside check.
Okay. DM, help.
No.
No,
I
it
was
didn't
pretty sure
affect
that was it,
memories,
but I was like,
but you
did I
will
forget
help.
something?
Was that denial of help, or was that a denial of you did not get your memory back?
It didn't affect your memory? Like what?
Yes.
Okay, I understood. Roll your insight.
Okay.
No, the
I'll
answer
roll
is
it on
no.
22.
Okay, you can tell that Merilla is saying no because it really is no. Like, she didn't, the water was just magic water to her. But she's kind of side-eyeing you because she knows you're thinking about something, and she's quiet because she's waiting for you to say your thoughts. And the follow-up statement to the question.
I was just curious. Because then it would have, just comes back to the whole race stuff. Because the Heralders been around for a very long time, and Dark Elves are very long-lived races, so maybe it's possible you were one of the creatures that were scattered and you just don't remember it. And you've come back as a human. I was just curious.
But they were
Here's your
scattered to a different plane of existence. I would
So
have
were the
had
false
to...
Hydras.
See, that's a big thing that concerns me.
I was just curious. Since we're all here, I just have questions I've been wanting to ask people. Like, what is the deal with your bracelet, Douse? Just tell us. Why are you constantly watering it? Please.
It used to be a gift from an acquaintance of mine, who I thought was friendly. But I had always been in water. Now that I'm out of water, it's kind of drying me up.
Drying you up.
Would you allow me to identify it for you? It could give you a lot of answers.
I was going to do some research of my own about it, but
it would give you very specific things of what it does, what kind of magic formed it, if there's a curse on it or anything. It gives a lot of answers.
Could we do it in a more private setting? Because I don't know if I want that knowledge public.
Oh, it just goes to my brain. I mean, it can't get much more private than this. We're in the middle of nowhere.
Out of game, but will it stay in your brain? Will it show itself? What would even happen? Sorry, I'm just. It's a question.
Show yourself.
You touch it and immediately whips sprout out. Stop. Just one hit KO Nuri, just casually.
Yeah, there's some reasons why maybe you'd want to do it with people.
Anyways, back in game.
Douse would address the being in his mind, like, do you have any preference with this group of letting them know about your existence at all?
Well, this is quite entertaining. I don't mind if they know about me.
All right.
Not. You wouldn't call me a problem, would you?
I mean, the constant watering is a little annoying, but that's the work. That's all. Your bonuses come a lot stronger than the requirement at this point.
Well, we are in a pact after all.
Very well.
Mhm.
Uh,
But yes, I do not mind. And then you kind of like feel her kind of go silent for a second, and then you don't hear for her for a minute or two. So you're assuming the conversation has just ended.
okay. So, sure, you can identify it, I guess. The thing you should know a little bit is that it is. I don't think it's cursed as much as there is a being attached to it.
Yeah, I feel like that should have been. Never mind. This is why I ask questions.
And this is why I don't exactly know how to explain it. So I would like to have gained an understanding about it myself before saying anything definite about it.
So it's okay if I identify it right now?
Sure.
Wonderful. I'm going to go cast Identify.
So I have to stay here with my arm out for a full hour.
It's only 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking Ritual Cast was a full hour.
No, Ritual Cast is 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
10 minutes pass.
I mean, you guys could have a full conversation in that 10 minutes if there was
That's
anything
true.
else.
But at the end of the 10 minutes, Douse's arm is numb.
Oh, yes. He's very much tired of holding it out. Like,
So your ritual casting Identify.
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, hold on. Let me finish something real quick. This is a message between me and Merilla. How long does that spell last, Merilla?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's 1 minute, but I am double checking it. It's either that or 5, but I'm pretty sure it's just 5 minutes. I mean, 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1 minute.
Would you like to continue this verbally or via the message?
I think it would be more interesting to pass the time for the 1 minute while Nuri's doing her thing if we did it verbally.
Okay, then I will do it verbally.
Marilla starts talking to her own entity within her own bracelet.
Exactly.
Do you want to just like read the messages we did and then we'll just...
Yes, so what I'm going to do is all of the
Maybe.
players, you guys do not know this is happening because this was while you guys were talking and before you guys are casting Identify. But for the audience, Merilla cast Detect Thoughts on the bracelet. Merilla, you sense that there is sentience there. And you hear the end of, "We've made a pact, didn't we?" Then it goes silent for a moment. You're quite a curious old woman, aren't you?
Yes, and a powerful sorceress at that.
I can tell. What are you trying to glean from me?
I had a plan. Of course, I forgot the plan. Sorry. What am I trying to glean from her?
Do you trust Douse?
That's a tricky question. Do you trust me? And my answer.
As a stranger, perhaps more than I trust Douse.
Why is that?
Merilla is silent for a little bit.
Ooh. I'm honestly not sure where to start. Part of it is personal.
May I peek in your mind a little bit?
The mind is a vast well,
It
and
is.
if my suspicions are correct, yours might be more vast than mine. So please take pity on my smaller form. Water.
And she says that like a name.
Did you say water?
Mhm.
I like you. But if you would let me, I'd love to take a peek. Don't worry, I won't mess anything up.
As a player, I am super intrigued what she'll be able to access.
Is there a however there?
It was unspoken, but yes, very much.
I think there was a heavy implied however.
Yeah.
I won't wait all day, ma'am.
No, and I shan't make you.
Shoot, I had the phrase in my head. I'm sorry.
No. And thank you for asking.
Mhm.
I'm very surprised that Douse has you. You're way too powerful.
Hmm.
But I
I
suppose
wish
it's the cage.
Anything can be a cage if you look at it that way.
Yes, you're right. I know the feeling.
Regardless, I think your spell time is
You're
ticking.
right. Thank you for your time. And she
Withdraws.
Before you withdraw, she
Oh, okay.
had one more thing to say. Unless you
Oh,
just
okay.
withdraw then.
Marilla would be respectful that like if she could sense she was gonna say something else, just like the rising up of more words, like bubbles in water, she would listen and then withdraw.
And it kind of feels like that. She goes, if you do ever wish to learn more about yourself, you can always let me in. And then with that,
He's a vampire.
she'll pull away. A vampire. Yes. You can always let me in. And then she pulls out from the spell. Or the spell ends, or you end the spell, unless there was something you wanted to say.
Nope.
Okay.
She just withdraws, like I said.
Okay. You do that, and at this point, Nuri, you finish setting everything up so you can cast Identify on the bracelet. I'm sure Merilla is now like, what?
She's not super surprised.
Mhm.
Curious? Yes.
Very curious. Sierra, could you put in our little chat here the details of identify?
Yes.
Danke.
Sad thing is, unless Nuri decides to share the information, I won't even get to know.
Well, she is casting it for you, so.
I know, but there's still the chance that she sees it and then is like, nah.
I'll give it to myself.
Okay. So if it is a magic item or some other magic imbued object, you learn its properties, how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use, how many charges it has, if any. You learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it. Okay. Okay.
Step by step.
Step by step. Alrighty, Sierra. You do learn that this is an enchanted bracelet. More of a cursed bracelet in a sense. Depends on how you look at it.
Anything's
I'm
a
going to say
cage.
it's cursed.
Anything's a cage if you looked at it that way. Yes, Douse, thank you. What you learn is that there is a very powerful entity that is ensnared within the bracelet. You can kind of learn from this identify that it wasn't a specific spell that is known to humanoids at all that ensnared it. It seems that whatever ensnared it was by some sort of powerful being or creature or something like that. And it wasn't like a spell out of a spell book. It does not require to did we say that, Dane, that it didn't require attunement or that it did?
I don't think it did.
Yeah. It was just that as soon as the wearer puts it on, they cannot take it off.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it gets trapped on the wearer's hand. And this particular bracelet, if it does not consume water every single day, about, what did I write down? It was about 6 gallons of water a day. If it does not consume that much, then it will start draining the water or the life force out of the being that it is attached to feed itself. Would this spell identify what the entity is in the bracelet?
While you learn its properties. I know this spell cannot tell you what a being is because Nuri had considered just casting this on Merilla when she was asleep and finding out for herself just what she was, but it doesn't
Lore.
work like that.
Yeah, if it.
Wait,
I
you
think
actually
that's-
tried that?
Lore.
She thought about it, but
Oh,
she studied
okay, I
the
was
spell
gonna
and she's like,
spoil it
that
for
doesn't
you.
work.
Anyway, that's
I
it.
say that's at the bottom where it's like if there's a creature that is such, you learn the spells that are affecting it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that's about what you learn. You don't know what the entity is,
Mhm.
but you know that there is something ensnared within the bracelet, and it is consuming Douse's life force if he does not water it.
So after I cast this, I'm just gonna be like, pull up my notebook, scribble a bunch of words down.
Come on, you can't leave me hanging like this.
Oh no, I will tell you. I just, but it's fresh. You gotta write it down.
Would you prefer she forget it?
Well,
No.
you would. Well, so everyone knows this bracelet is enchanted and definitely cursed.
Morilla's nodding.
Once the wearer puts it on, it cannot be removed, but it doesn't require attunement, so that's kind of nice.
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
so there is a very powerful entity that has been ensnared within this bracelet. It's not magic that a humanoid can do. It's not in any spell books. This magic has to come from a very powerful being or creature. Like
Morilla
this,
nods again.
this is not humanoid magic at all.
For the DM,
If-
would I know if the creature being who gave it to me matches that description at all or no?
Let me look up the creature again real quick, just to double check.
Well, while you're looking that up, Nuri will continue to say, well, it makes sense why you're making such a fuss about water. See, this would have solved a lot of trust issues earlier.
Merilla
It
nods.
needs 6 gallons of water each day, or it will eat the person that it's trapped on.
Douse, yes.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but realize this stuff didn't start happening until recently. So I hope you understand why I didn't want to bring you forward with it when I didn't know what was going on with it.
I can understand, I guess. Okay.
Douse.
Especially when a being starts talking in your head. People might look at you weird.
I wouldn't have.
If
I
it's
would
in
have
your
just done
head,
this
nobody
earlier.
else.
Continue. Sorry, Merilla, I cut you off.
Well, if it's in your head, nobody else knows.
But you guys keep asking me about the bracelet, which is where that thing resides.
Not that we would know. It talks to you.
And then you accuse me of lying.
Say that one more time, sorry.
You kind of have.
And then you're accusing me of lying when you're currently telling me that I should have been lying.
I don't think you should have
Lying
lied.
is deceiving people. Not telling truth. If it's not true, it's a lie. Just because you're not actively saying, oh, well, you see, I need so much water because of this other completely different thing, which is actually technically what you said.
Well, he said it was because he missed the ocean, not that he actually needed it.
He didn't say he needed it to stay alive.
Okay, well, he kind of did.
He was alive.
Yes. He
And
said it
there's
was
other
because of his
things
race.
too. I don't actually think this one is as big. But
Either way, thank you, Douse, for letting me identify it. I feel much better knowing that it's actually not the 6 of us, but the 7 of us. That's good to know. Yes.
Wait, and Amaris is gonna count everyone in the party. 1, 2. There's only 5 of us.
Oh, I was counting the scorpion, Dusty.
Oh, I'm sure he would appreciate that.
you have a scorpion?
Yes.
Can I insight check that?
You can give him the biscuit.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really wanted to say that earlier, but Merilla didn't know about him.
Hold on.
Also, Merilla says that out loud, and Douse hears
That is a 23.
She seems very sincere about that.
So she was referencing the scorpion.
Yes.
Love that.
Nice.
Douse, you can definitely sense in your mind that she is not happy. Not Nuri, but the entity.
So I have a question. Maybe it's a little off topic, but no, it's on topic. It's pretty head on the nail. Have you been talking to it, and I assume it can talk with you. It's powerful enough. Surely it can cast message. And you've been talking back with it?
Do you remember the incident with the sandworm?
Mm-hmm.
She was my connection that allowed me to bring our friends back.
Dusty kind of like cocks his head to the side. He nods. See.
I'm not gonna lie. Said it was the goddess. Well,
She connected me
and then
to
she
the
like
goddess.
stops and she thinks about it for a second.
I was praying that entire time. There was no lie there.
No. No, and he did concede that afterwards.
Would you say that this is a helpful being? It's been useful for you?
I have a positive opinion of her, if that's your question.
Dusty kind of shrugs.
You hear in her mind, a positive opinion. Okay, fine. I thought we had a better connection than that.
Oh my goodness.
So then, if this thing is, does it have a name?
Not that she's shared with.
Oh, it's a
Okay.
she. Identity. Okay. Could you ask her?
I have. DM, I've asked her this question, right? And she's refused to.
Yeah, she's given like hints and stuff. She said that she doesn't have she both doesn't have a name yet also has many names.
She's very cryptic when I have asked her that question and said that she has none but yet many. That's one of the things I was hoping to glean by studying.
So you have a positive opinion of her. But we're not exactly sure of a name specifically for her.
She is not an enemy if you are concerned about that.
Dusty nods. Yes, that was one of my concerns. And has it been useful as we've been traveling around? Has she helped you? Well, aside from, I guess, that connection thing. And he kind of looks down. He's like, actually, no, yeah, that was very helpful. Tell her thanks for me, will you?
I'm pretty sure she's aware of this, but I will pass it along.
Can she hear our conversations?
Merilla points at the bracelet and she says,
His death sits in that cage, and she hears him. And all of us.
Oh.
Huh.
She makes comments about you guys regularly.
Oh.
More of entertained.
They're quite daft, aren't they?
Can she speak into my mind right now?
I have
Please
no
ask her
idea.
to.
I mean, if she's willing, she will do it on her own.
Please, bracelet, talk to me. I would love to know your name. Or one of them. She's
However,
speaking at the bracelet.
I will say I have no idea what she's capable of. I've only been talking to her for the past week or so. 2 weeks.
High or low, Nuri.
Hi.
Okay, Douse, you say that, and Douse, you hear in your mind just a, this might be quite amusing. I'll pop in for a moment.
What?
And Nuri,
Douse will Douse will audibly say that, not realizing that she can hop into other people's minds.
So, Nuri, you just hear Douse go, what? And then you hear in your mind, you asked?
This is so cool. Nuri literally says that out loud.
Douse is
Yes,
just
I
gonna kind of
know,
like
I'm
rub his
amazing.
eyes, like,
I know, I'm amazing. That's funny.
Douse is just rubbing his eyes, just like, oh, gosh.
So what's your name? Or one of them. One of your favorites. I'm sure you must have a really pretty one you're really fond of.
You're a very curious one, aren't you?
Oh, definitely. I love asking questions. I love learning about people. Like their names.
Well, I'm infinitely more curious about yours. Do let me in for a moment.
Into my name? I mean, I'm kind
Mhm.
of already married. And she says that out loud.
Into your mind.
Douse will just look at her like, apparently she can talk to anyone she desires. So,
And then, Douse, to you, she says, within a certain vicinity. I will grant you that detail.
thank you.
Answer 2 questions for me, honestly. And yes, you can look into my mind as much as you want. Just don't scramble the memories, is all I ask. I do have notes, so I will be able to tell.
I wouldn't dream of it. But I will answer in my own way.
What name can we call you by?
Hold on, I have to look it up in my notes.
For a half second, I thought she was gonna say, "Oh, whatever you want," and then you just reply with, "Okay, bracelet lady, got it."
I would have given her a name, probably one she didn't like if she said that.
You may call me Way.
Way, as in like walking a certain way?
Way as in WAI. And that is kind of like what you mentally like, what she kind of mentally supplies you with. WAI Way.
Way. All right.
No
Thank you so much,
way.
Way.
Yes.
And I will verbally say out loud, thank you, Way.
Douse is like, it's taking me weeks.
And then the second question she will ask, which is not verbal, is what racial being are you? For example, god, demigod, a humanoid wizard, like racial being. Titan?
That's a tricky question. Nothing can quite pin me down. I flow in and out of all shapes and sizes and ways.
So like a god.
No, I'm not a god. Though I communicate with them sometimes.
So you're a being that's very powerful, that can be in all sorts of shapes and sizes and anywhere they want, that can talk to gods, but is not a god. Yeah, that doesn't help at all.
That's my answer.
A cleric, that went too far. There we go. All right. You can open my mind.
So you allow her in?
Yep.
Okay. You feel her presence much more strongly in your mind. Very strong and very present, yet soft and gentle. And it seems like um as she's kind of sifting around in your mind, she's not making like a mess or anything. Any sort of like memory that she holds, it almost seems just like very tenderly looked at and placed exactly in the spot, like as she's kind of like going through and just learning more about you. Um, and then after a couple moments, she kind of like pulls back to like the surface level, and this intense kind of like flood of this entity like kind of pulls back, and you just hear, "What a lovely conversation, Nuri, Windrail." And she pulls out, and Douse, you hear in your mind just, "She's quite interesting. Even more interesting than I thought originally."
Did you have fun over there?
Yes, I did. Much more entertainment than I've had in days.
Is Nuri's
Days.
expression
He's like,
doing
Dow's
what?
trying to go back through his memory, like, what happened?
Checking.
What were you saying, Greg?
I was double checking if Sierra's inflection and performance was what Nuri was doing with her.
In game.
Yeah, in game, and it
It was in game reactions.
Okay, good to know.
Douse, she also says to you, she says, "As bearer of the bracelet, I will let you know. She has asked for something to call me by, and I've given her the name Gwei."
Fair enough. Is that what you would prefer to be called by from me as well?
"You may call me that."
Very much. Thank you, Wei.
Oh,
You caught me in a pleasant mood today, Douse.
I'm glad.
so we can call her Wei. She's not a god. She's a being that can talk to them. She can be all shapes, sizes, and in different ways, which plays on the name Wei. Wai, for all of you to know. She delved into my mind. Mistakes, probably.
I mean,
Merilla nods at you with like a what the heck look on her.
It was a deal. I can't resist information. Okay, I can't. I can't.
I mean, there's not much you can keep from her if you let her in, so.
No, she knows everything.
Yeah. You can see like Douse is speaking from experience of like.
Yeah. Any other questions before I change topic?
Well, Nuri, I still want to talk about you.
What were you trying to say, Greg? You were on mute.
No, I know. I was debating whether to say anything or not. I was like, I will not.
I think we should figure out how much longer we want to be hanging out here before we continue on our discussions, because we do need to get back to town eventually.
I'm good to keep going.
As in conversing or going as in traveling?
Well, going implies leaving.
Yes, but it can also mean whatever. Yes, okay.
Not talking leaving. Was there something you wanted to do, Nuri, though? It sounded like you wanted to ask something else.
Yes. And hindsight, I made a very big mistake of letting her into my mind.
Merilla
So,
nods at you.
apologies for that. And she kind of looks at Dusty and then to the ground. Because she, knows everything in my memory, I think. So,
Yeah.
sorry.
Douse,
I
do you say anything to her in response to hearing this?
Her, which one?
Do you say anything to Wei in response to hearing Nuri saying, "I'm sorry, Dusty, she now knows all of my memories"?
Well, I didn't say Dusty. I said,
Oh.
sorry, everyone. And then she had looked to Dusty, looked to the ground.
Yeah.
That's right. Douse, do you say anything in response to her?
Just kind of if it was mentally possible, just kind of like a look over, like you didn't do anything or mess with anything too much, right? Kind of, if that's mentally possible.
I did not. To ease your worries, I did not do anything in there. I simply took a note out of her book and gained information.
I mean, you're your own being. I can't hold you back from that, but I appreciate your kindness in not harming my companions.
Yes, trust me, if I wanted to harm any one of you, it would have happened by now.
I'm pretty sure I would have been the first.
Oh, trust me, you would have been the last.
He needs a host.
Yeah.
At hearing that, I don't. If anyone's watching Douse, I like go big just slightly with a little bit of fear from that comment, but then goes back to normal.
Merilla's paying attention to Nuri.
Well, in that case, since we're going to start going, the other big question that's just been hanging on my mind for the last couple of weeks, Amaris. I will literally open. She opens her notebook / spellbook.
Which you can buy on our website, guys.
Notes not included.
No.
His notes not included.
Sorry, continue.
Amaris. If you remember our babysitters, Echo, we were learning about them on the first night, and we learned Echo was an undead and Val was a vampire, but Echo was talking about his family and how he had burn scars all over his body and this woman, and then right after he said her name, you walked away and it's just been killing you. Did you know this person? The name was I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce this right. It's like Alicia or something? Alicia, let's see. Echo's family. He had no memory. Elf, lots of burn scars. Elf family, Elysia was his daughter or something. Yeah. And the daughter and mom went missing. There we go.
No, I don't know them. I left for a different reason.
But do you know these? Are you connected? Wait, you left for a different reason? Wait. I'm confused. Are you somehow attached to these names in any way or form?
Out of game DM, I don't think so. Am I correct on that?
No. Oh, yes, you're correct. You're not connected to them, I don't think.
Okay.
All right. So you just walked away because it reminded you of why you left? That's
In a way,
that's why you walked
yes.
away? In a way? What way? As I say way, it will never mean the same.
Whoa.
That's so funny.
It's not something I'm comfortable talking about publicly.
All right. That's fair. We do have a new being in our presence that we are aware of. So that's fair. Okay.
Always listening.
Way is listening.
Always.
Always.
Mhm.
Yes, always.
Right. I think that was all the major questions I had just on my mind. I was just been there for a while. All right. All right, we got that all done. Okay. Thank you. Actually, I'm not. Dusty, not Douse. Sorry, Douse. Dusty, why have you been so quiet recently? Like, I know you're generally quiet, but the last couple days, actually, kind of since we died, you've been extra quiet, and it has been driving me crazy.
You
If
kind
it's
of like,
private, I understand.
kind
Wade's
of like,
listening.
you can see he kind of like tilts a little bit, thinking to himself. And he just kind of like shrugs. It's like, I'm not sure.
Insight check.
You can tell by his mechanical face that there's
Body
no emotion.
language.
He does give off body language.
Mm-hmm.
It can be subtle, but he does have body language.
13.
13. You feel like he seems like what's the word? It seems like he's thinking. He seems like he's thinking more than anything else.
Can
That's
I
what
also roll insight? Do you mind?
Sure, go for it.
Thank you. Since Merilla is planning on riding in the sled with Dusty again, she's kind of like,
20. Dirty.
Dirty
Oh,
20.
much better. So you kind of get that same sense that he's thinking. But you can tell that there's something like on the edge of this thought that is bothering him. You can see kind of like a nervous like jitter in his hand that gives you the idea that something is on his mind, something is bothering him. At least from the thought he had.
And I got that, or I did not get that? Was that like too high for me to notice?
You did not get that. It was a
Okay,
little
so
bit
for
too
me, it's like nothing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you can tell he's thinking about something with a 13.
Okay.
But Merilla can tell that the thing he's thinking about bothers him and causes a jitter in his hand, to be interpreted however.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, guess that's it for me. Thank you, everyone, for your.
Should we be hitting the road then?
Yes,
Yes.
I think so.
So,
All right with you again, Dusty, if you don't mind.
sure. Dusty goes over to the Sandman tent, saddles himself up.
Well, that is Dusty as she walks over. Unless you actually did want to say, I saw you had, like, you were kind of thinking of something. Is it really just nothing?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm okay.
All right. She gives him a hug and then leaves.
All right.
Okay, so you guys saddled the mantas.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. That was very loud.
How smooth is the manta's ride?
What?
How like smooth is the manta ride? Because I have all these spell scrolls, and
It's
I was-
it's fairly bouncy. So like there's definitely like a rumble. Like imagine being like
so like
in
a
like an
car kind of
ATV.
bouncy. Oh, ATV.
Like a razor, like the shakiness. So it's not like incredibly still.
Okay, well then never mind. I guess she wouldn't risk trying to transfer any into her spell book while driving.
Yeah, it's not the greatest writing atmosphere.
What
I
is
guess
Nuri gonna do?
writing.
She can't take notes and she can't take her magic on this.
Whatever will she do?
So as we're riding, if it's okay to move on to that point now that
You guys start writing.
cool. So as we're riding, we're gonna say that Dusty's driving, right? Okay.
Yep.
Who was before? What was I gonna say? Dusty, would you prefer I drive? I noticed earlier you had a jitter in your hand, and it seems like a little bit might still be there.
He kind of like looks down towards his hand, and it seems like this is the first time he's
So sorry guys with that. With the reconnecting of the stream, it looks like internet went out for a second. We will get right back into that as Dusty and Merilla are chatting. And Merilla, do you want to say the last line that you were saying? That I could come to you for.
Dusty, earlier, when you very kindly offered me the biscuit, you told me that if I ever needed somebody to talk to, I could talk to you.
Yeah.
Do you remember the secret that I told you before when we were looking at the stars together? Basically, more or less what the Sandman does?
Yes, I do.
Have you
Sure.
happened to...
Is there something bothering you about that? Perhaps with recent events with Nuri? And he does kind of like look towards you. If you like glance back at him, like when he first sat down, like his posture was kind of like down and pulling, but now like he looks up towards you and you see his shoulders lift slightly as he is now looking towards you.
I think she would catch like the end of that, like the end of the lift. Sort of thing.
Well, I'm not quite sure, but I think I might have lost one. Have you seen one around anywhere?
No, I have not.
She takes one hand off the reins and she kind of like holds up her hand.
They're about this big, usually. I mean, they can differ in size a little bit, but they're around this big a little bit, usually.
No, I'm sorry, I have not.
All right. I don't think I have secrets, but I do have things I prefer not really to talk about a lot.
I suppose everybody is like that. And she says that just as pointedly.
Yeah, I suppose so. And you can kind of see like his gaze like comes back to in front of him now as he seems to be looking past where the rim of the sled is.
Do you like the sky, Dusty?
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty.
It's very pretty. I feel it's like my oldest friend sometimes. Sort of funny.
Interesting. Why is that?
Shoot. I keep doing this to myself.
You do. Explain why.
Explain. trying to remember what she said before. Well, and she kind of like glances up at the sky and she like, like kind of differs in between as she is still doing her driving thing.
I feel like it knows me. It's rather weird to say, I know. And I just feel the most comfortable when I am underneath it. Example, when we went down into the cave of the Hydra, it just kind of felt a little lost. Not like I didn't know where I was necessarily, but like I know I lost something.
Quick question before you continue. What is your passive insight?
Ooh, my passive insight, I'm pretty sure it's 17.
10 plus your insight modifier.
Insight, it's 17.
Okay. So you do glean as you talk, as you mention the false Hydra and being underground, that like you see one of Dusty's hands tense up a little bit on his lap.
I was going to continue. And then the same thing when we went into the den of the chucklewares. It's kind of a little lost. Some fragment, maybe. It sounds weird, thread of thought. It wasn't there anymore. In fact, as I think about it, that's how it's always happened. It's kind of like, I guess, when you told me how you met Nuri, and you just got along very quickly, like you always known each other. In a sense, was that right?
Yes. Yeah. We exchanged information with each other. We both were able to learn.
Sounds like a typical meeting with Nuri.
I suppose it was. Yeah.
Something about friends is they help you remember things, right?
Yeah.
Good friends you've had for a long time. I feel like this guy helps that too. Although I really don't remember anything, but it feels like it. Has something like that happened to you? Like, say, around the time of the false Hydra?
Going back to that hand thing.
I am going to ask you to make a persuasion check.
Persuasion check. Okay. Excellent.
Not a high or low.
This is not a high or low. Inherently.
Old woman charisma, see me through. Ah, it's a 10.
It's a 10 with a +6. Womp womp.
Oh well.
Tried pulling off that sweet old lady vibe, and Dusty just knowing you is like.
If anything, it was just confusing. The slide in was a failure.
Dusty, he says, well, I mean, I don't really know anything before I was created. That's something. It's similar to how you have described when you were found, when you awoke. I don't remember anything before I was made. I think about it sometimes, but mostly fleeting.
Fleeting thoughts about wondering about before you were made?
Yeah. That's about right.
I can understand that. It makes sense. I mean, before you were made, did you even exist?
Is the question, and he like brings up his arm and scratches the back of his head.
Insight! Can I roll insight?
Sure.
Excellent. Dang it.
12 with the +7.
We're back is to you.
Hey, that die was one higher. Well done. Thanks, online. I do blame online, by the way, just for fun. So with a 12, you can tell that there is something bugging him. It is a little bit more clear now. Where as the conversation has gone on, he is kind of like shifted, or he has like fiddled with his hands, or even like scrap bits of his wrapping. Just small things here and there. It's not necessarily that he's uncomfortable with the conversation, though it might be. That's left mostly up to your determination, but something is on his mind. Something is bugging him.
Marilla's gonna be Merilla.
Well, Dusty, I can see that something is bothering you. And I'm grateful that you gave me my space back there before we heard Nuri's story. If you want to tell me, I'm here. If you don't, you certainly do not have to. But there might be some wisdom in this old woman brain of mine. It might be helpful.
Dusty nods. For funsies, go ahead and make another persuasion check.
Dice gods of the online chapter division, please.
Online chapter. Subsection online. Right next to the page on Dice Goblins.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, high or low? We made it to the high or low. Congratulations. High. All right. Again, I neglected to grab dice. I will roll online. That is a natural 1. So
It's just not to be.
it is not to be.
Okay.
Dusty
Stay at
does.
least.
Dusty does say, I appreciate your willingness to listen. I am bothered by something, but if you're worried if it's you, it's not. I have a lot on my mind. I do appreciate it, though. It's good to know that I have someone to talk to.
Along with Nuri and probably Amaris. Yes, Dusty. That is all right. I'm definitely not offended.
And she says that like very sincerely as she's paying attention to her driving. So what else was I gonna say?
Oh, and I didn't actually think it could be me. That was bothering you.
Good.
Or at least not the biggest reason. I'm really
Good.
more concerned about Nuri when it comes to that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's so much bothered as it is anxious. I mean, with the history she shared with us,
Yes,
I could
think that's a
understand.
very good way to put it. Yeah. Well, thank you, Dusty, for straight up telling me. Instead of beating around the bush. I really appreciate that honesty.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have anything else to say, Merilla doesn't have anything else to say, so we can just go to the next thing.
That's good. That's where Dusty leaves it.
Alrighty.
Next thing.
Next thing.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, you guys keep driving. Driving some more. And it comes out to nighttime. You can assume that if you rest the night, then you have about half a day's drive before you make it to Dragondale.
We have been going throughout most of the day. I think we at least spend the night around here, campouts, let the mantas rest. It can't be
It's
easy.
evening now?
Yes, it is now nighttime.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. I wanted to raise the spirit from the dead anyway, so it works for me.
So hold up, Nuri. What carcass is there to bring back?
Oh no, I'm just gonna summon one.
Wait, what? You're going to summon a ghost?
Yes.
What?
I mean,
You're
Yep,
awfully
she's gonna
excited
cast
about that.
summon
You don't
undead.
think you're going to get haunted on accident or anything?
They'll only be around for
Douse is
up
going to become
to an
very
hour.
interested into the mantas at this point, making sure that they're taken care of very well.
And these mantas, they look like they need water. I'll be over here.
They definitely need water.
He's gonna make a puddle, start playing it with them.
The baby
Yes.
manta is like hardcore playing with you.
Oh yeah, he's like, I need a distraction from this because
Yeah.
I
Also, I love the message Megan just put into our little chat here on the side. When you plan to do something even the DM doesn't know about. Yes. Like what?
It's a spell. It's a new spell. She's been working on this for a while. Does anyone else not want to see necromancy magic besides Douse?
Amaris just stays by you.
Dusty shrugs and doesn't move.
Well, I'm gonna walk like 30 feet that way, so if you want to see, come along. But if not, stay by the mantas. I'm just gonna walk 30 feet away.
You see Merilla like sitting on the sled, and she kind of like has her head down and her like thumbs together, and she's just kind of like talking. Right. You only know she's talking because her mouth lips are moving.
Is she talking to anyone?
No. She started doing it after she started doing it after you started talking about summoning a ghost, basically.
I'm gonna like literally backtrack my steps, pivot, and be like, "Who are you talking to, Merilla?"
How close are you?
She's like right by the sled.
Right by so like okay. Which
She's
is
like next to you. You're like on the sled. She's right
Okay.
next to you. Like who
High
you
or
talking
low?
to?
High or low?
Hi.
High. Okay. Do 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 do. Ooh, okay. So as you get close to her, you hear just barely, even though you're basically right next to her, these words in Elvish. But she
I don't know.
stops, like right as soon as you talk to her.
Wait,
She like,
what did you
senses
say?
you.
I couldn't even hear any words.
Oh,
They're a little
She-
louder.
sorry. So just for like the briefest moment as you approach her before she senses and hears you, you catch a couple super, super soft. You barely recognize it. You're almost like not even sure, but you think you hear some words in Elvish. And you asked her what she's doing, right?
Yeah, so was I able to make out what words she had said, or just that it was in Elvish and super quiet?
You think they were in Elvish and it was super quiet.
Well, you see, since
Who's
you
she talking
decided
to?
to summon a someone, I thought I would too. Richard, keep an eye on your scene while we all sleep.
Oh. It's very interesting that when you cast spells, it's in Elvish.
I'm sorry, what?
It's happened like 2 or 3 times now. I've taken notes.
What?
Yeah, whenever you cast spells, it's always in Elvish. It's very interesting. Well,
I
all right.
don't know Elvish, Nuri.
Like we've been through before, you just hear it and speak it as common in your brain. But it
I
is.
don't know, I don't speak at all.
You can see in her eyes, she's like, believe what you want to believe. I have it in my notes. She like walks away. Being like,
The
all right.
almighty notes.
Or just kind of like watches her and is like, oh, we've already been through so much turmoil, just gonna drop it. She goes back to what she was doing.
Okay. So you're summoning Richards. Or Richard, sorry.
Yeah.
Sierra, you go 30 feet away.
Oh, the casting time was 1 action. Dang it, I thought it was a ritual spell. Awkward. That was 10 minutes.
Still come over like right at the end of that. 1 action cast. Okay. Yes, I'm going to go and I'm going to summon an undead.
It goes by the undead spirit stat block. You get to choose the creature's form: ghostly, putrid, or skeletal.
Putrid?
Mm-hmm.
Nasty.
Nice.
Yeah, basically gross looking.
Just ghostly. Because she's like specifically working on like souls, not bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna summon a ghost.
Okay.
Doesn't work. I guess it's just what necromancy.
So, okay. So you are summoning. Okay. Roll me a D100.
Oh, let's see if I can remember how to do this.
Up to a necromantic McDonald's.
Oh wait, it's just on here. What am I doing? I don't have to do any crazy hard things. Darn. A 7.
Pretty good. I'm sure that's good.
Yeah.
7 out of 100. Wow.
A vengeful spirit arises.
Give me 1 sec.
Rip.
Yeah, you pull up to a McDonald's. Hey, what do you have today? What's on the menu today? Oh yeah, we've got summon undead, raise undead. You know, you could do resurrection. I think I'll go with summon undead. What options do you have? Yeah, we've got ghostly, we got putrid or skeletal. Which one would you like? Oh, I think ghostly's fine for today. Okay, go ahead, pull up to the next window.
Our ghost machine is not working. You get a banshee.
Up to window number 7.
Oh, no.
So with your 7, you call forth this undead spirit. And you see, like, as you're casting this, there seems the sand around your feet kind of like, what's the word? Like, there's like a flurry of like dust kind of billowing from the sand. And then you see that dust, as the sand settles, it turns into this light white ethereal fog. Just not a lot, but it's kind of sucking out of the sand here and starting to form itself into this ghostly form of a humanoid figure. And then before you see with your 7, you just see a ghostly figure of a man who is wearing a sweater vest, and he's got like hair parted in the middle, like slicked back down on either side. And he's just a ghostly figure, just stands there. Looking very, very soul, like his eyes are dead, his head is kind of like cocked to the side, his mouth is kind of parted open, like an
You're just gonna take some notes. Do I get any research points?
From this with a 7, no.
Well, Rip.
I
So I
had
could
to roll
try
a
again.
100. Yeah. Nearly headless? How are you nearly? He's not nearly headless. But I see what you're referencing, Greg.
I was half waiting for him to be like, "What do you want?" Like just got like a bum attitude or something.
Huh.
I have a personality for him, but
Nuri's
Just
going
die.
to
What do you
step in.
want?
Nuri's actually going to end her concentration, so the ghost just vanishes.
he just vanishes.
And
Okay.
she's like, "This is really interesting." She's going to try to summon undead, but this time the spirit, she's going to try and specifically like pick like a spirit. She's going to try like
How?
It would bring her mother.
she's just like she's going to be like thinking of like spirit form as a jackaway. Or like, something like
So you're just like thinking really hard.
like
Jackal
she's trying to
were
summon a
spirit.
specific spirit.
Okay,
Which of your
who is the
victims that you
specific?
killed?
Who is the specific spirit?
Well, I can't use someone that's an enemy to us, so it's
I
not
mean,
like a
they're at your beck and call. I don't know.
Yeah, they would see me as an ally. She's gonna call forth Jet. If that was his name. It was like one of the last guys they killed.
Fit?
Fit, yes.
The
Oh,
employee of
Fit.
the month?
It's
Yes,
Jet
she's gonna call them
today?
forth the employee of the month.
Look,
Employee of the month.
She's gonna think of his spirit and try to summon him forth.
Roll a d100.
I don't like the online dice. I don't
Wait,
trust-
would she get advantage because she has a clearer image of who and what she's trying to summon?
Nope.
that might even
Roll-
raise the DC.
You guys don't know.
Why is it taking so long to roll the dice? Just roll it. 94.
Jeez. Okay, that's very different. From 7 to 94.
You're almost
the
7 off
effort.
100. It was the effort, yeah.
Okay.
It was the clearer image.
The clear image. You're like, fit. I'm trying to summon fit. And as you're doing this, you're thinking really hard about fit.
Imagine
Thinking,
the employee of the month poster.
yes,
Sure.
you're like employee of the month, come to me. And again, the sand kind of like flutters about, and then fog kind of billows a little bit, coming out from the sand and forming into another humanoid of the same sweater guy in the sweater with the parted hair. And he just kind of like looks at you, and this time he has like a sundial watch. And he's just like, he just kind of is standing there looking at you. He doesn't look as like mindless this time, as he's just kind of like quirks his head at you, and then just kind of like looks at the sand, looks at the sky, looks back at you.
Amaris is gonna lean over to Nuri and just be like, "Do they hand out sweater vests in the afterlife?"
Maybe.
It's a really ugly sweater.
They go hard on the ugly sweater contests there.
Yeah.
It is no joke over there. Halloween
Hmm.
themed every time.
You will
Well-
gain 5 research points.
5 research points. Oh man.
No, it's good.
Oh. I need 15 more points.
Oh, well, yeah.
And then the
Hmm.
entire mystery is cracked, and we learn everything.
Ha ha.
Just how to bring them back, not who did it. Do you speak Ghost, do you have a name? I don't know
You're
if you can
talking to him?
speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
My
what's your
name's
name?
Greg.
Greg.
I'm sorry.
Were you
Sounds
ever-
trustworthy. Sounds really trustworthy. You should. Hey, I've been thinking this guy's handsome the whole time. I just hope you realize. Listen.
Hey,
Say.
I was really hoping that this was going to be no. The first time you brought Fitz back.
I like this guy from the start. Okay, keep going.
Did you die around here?
Kind of
It's
looks
a desert.
around. He just kind of like looks around. And he goes, I don't think so. I don't know.
Were you ever a jackal-ware?
A jackal what?
Have you ever been the employee of the month?
Yeah.
Well, darn it.
I was
Where was it
employee of
at?
the month 10 months in a row,
4.
being the employee of the month.
No, I mean, were you an accountant? A money changer of sorts? You sound like you were.
No. I was director of waste management.
Well, thank you, Greg. Enjoy the afterlife. I'm gonna just break my hand to end my concentration on the
He's
spell.
just gone. He's just gone. Greg's gone.
Oh. Okay. Gotta walk back to camp.
He was employee of
He
the
had
month,
died.
though.
He was employee of the month.
I
If
also
he had
thought you
died
had
all
more
the way out
questions for
here,
him.
Wait,
if he
what
had
did
died, if he had died way out here, then it must have been from overheating. Because who in their right mind would come to the desert in a sweater vest?
That's what I was thinking. This was a long time ago. This used to be an ice place or something.
You don't know how he died.
When you get back, you see that Merilla is talking to Richard, and Richard has made like a very small flame of fire with stuff that Merilla had.
Hmm.
The ghost of her own.
It goes to the room.
Douse currently has like a full-on puddle around him, and the manta's just like on his chest, flopping around in the water. He's like just playing with it.
Oh, that's so precious.
Cute.
Oh my goodness. The baby manta's very happy.
Yeah.
It's purring.
I saw that.
He's like, why can't all relationships be like this? No worries, no asking about bracelets. No.
It's so much easier.
Just unconditional love.
No responsibility, no repayment.
Perfect.
Basically.
Dusty is just kind of standing and surveying around.
Alrighty, anything else you guys wanted to do before night?
It's just warming up one of her ration pieces.
Alrighty. Yes. Eating some food.
If no one has anything else they want to do, I'll do some stuff, but I want everyone else to be able to go before I do any more because I've already done stuff today. So
I don't think Douse has any cooking he can do at the moment.
Kim?
Merilla just
Alrighty.
directs Richard as he like sets up all of her stuff, like sleeping bag, whatnot, in whatever spot.
Okay. Alrighty, well, Nuri, what did you want to do?
So question for DM first. So for copying spells over, generally you need ink that is worth 50 gold. However, I have a wizardly quill, which doesn't require ink, and when you use to copy spells with this quill, it only takes you 2 minutes per spell level. So do I need the ink if it is a quill?
I would say
that
no
doesn't need
because
ink?
it's your magic quill.
Okay,
She's
so
very magical.
this is literally what my class was built for. She's going to use time tonight to copy all the spells over super crazy fast for any wizard. It's like the fastest a wizard has ever copied spells.
And these are all spells that she has gained from these spell scrolls that she has collected from the den.
Yes, so it'll be 10 different spells she's like gonna copy over. It's gonna be super epic and like this is what I've been waiting for. But besides that, that's what she'll do eventually. Once the spell, because they like vanish from the spell scroll, so can I then burn the empty spell scroll? And if I burn enough of them, would that be enough expensive ashes to resummon my familiar?
Or is the scroll used up as well? That's the other question.
Yes.
Does transferring them over use them up?
It will use the spell, yeah. Like it consumes the magic from it. It's like you can only copy it once.
So I would say after that it would just be paper, so it wouldn't be enough to be the 10 gold needed for summoning the familiar.
I don't have anything that is expensive to burn. Except for this
Magic
magical staff.
items.
Except for the magical what?
Staff. But that's like a lot to just get a familiar back. Okay. The third thing was she's gonna cast Sending.
Ooh.
As that is now a spell she has learned. Well, she learned it before. Yeah.
Ooh.
She's going to cast it to Quinn, the
Okay.
one who is watching her son.
Yes.
Okay, I get 25 words. Okay. Quinn, it's Nuri. You can respond once.
Sarah, you also know that sending does notify the person who it is, like who the sender is.
She still says it. It's
Okay,
her first time casting it. It's her first time. How is Ami? Any changes? Is everything okay? How are you? Don't answer all of this. Ami, that's it.
You're like, okay. You hear at first, oh. She gets 25 words.
She has one
Yes.
word.
Yeah, that's one word. She just, oh. Then you hear, I'm good. Ami is doing fine also.
Here's a question. Does he know he only has 25 words?
Magical beat. Like, I don't know.
I imagine so, because like Nuri technically understood that she didn't have to say her name, but she wasn't practiced with the understanding. So
But
it's like,
he's the receiver is the other thing.
But also,
Well, it's like with
this
message, you
she-
can understand it.
Quinn has also received like sendings before, so it would also
Oh, okay.
be like on if you have received them before and no.
I just sorry to interrupt and completely change that.
No.
That was
You're totally fine. Let me just restart. Oh,
You
I'm
have 5.
fine. Tommy
Tommy.
is doing well also. He continues to sleep all day, not changing his condition. Is one of them? How are
Because
you doing? Sincerely, Quinn. There we go.
Wait, I love that. Okay. Then after that, she will just start coughing, spells over, will take a watch, and go to sleep. That's all she's doing.
Okay.
Good.
Alrighty.
Dusty will also be taking a watch. And he will, when offered a watch, he will say, I'll take a watch with Douse, is what he says specifically. He doesn't even wait for Douse to offer. He offers for him. He voluntarily told him.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
Dusty
can
is
you-
burning himself alive.
Megan, can you roll a d20 for me?
Me?
Yes.
All right. I've got 3 here. Would you like the baby one, the metallic one, or the marble one?
Ooh, marble. Marble sounds fun.
Here's my marble-esque.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Okay, let's roll it.
There we go. That is a 19.
Thank you. And with that, we'll go into our watches. It seems Greg, Douse, you guys are on your watch. Was there anything particular you wanted to do?
Absolutely. Are we going to make a
check.
C check? Vision
yes, a
check.
perception check.
Hey, that's the word.
That is the word.
Insight checks. Wait.
This Sam
Insight.
seems to be unstable emotionally. All right.
Greg was here.
Makes sense. So I'm gonna roll.
I guess you could say
I
it
guess with
doesn't have a
advantage.
firm foundation.
Oh shoot! Oh shoot!
That's
So-
why it's emotionally upset. It has no
Yes.
fulfillment.
So I guess I roll with advantage. I do have a +7, so
Because Douse would be helping you.
Yep.
nice.
And Douse has a +2, so let's let him do it.
20 total.
Okay.
So if nothing seems to happen with the 20, basically,
Yeah, you perceive nothing. Like, you can see a couple, like, critters around, but nothing threatening.
okay.
Desert rabbits.
More like scorpions and tarantulas
Yeah.
and lizards.
Douse
lots
leader
of
was like,
lizards.
Stuff
that
he's
happens to
used
be Dusty the Scorpion's cousin?
to. Dusty does glance over towards it, and he like cocks his head towards it, Can I make a can I make a nature check?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. 14. Is that Dusty's cousin?
You can tell that it's of the same breed of scorpion that it is,
Survey
but you can't
says.
tell if it's a cousin or not.
It's brown.
Survey
Wow.
says. We don't know. Dusty's he says, I'm not sure. I suppose it's possible. This is the desert I got Dusty from, so it would make sense. It's related to one or another.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How's the little guy doing?
Good. He's doing
Did
good.
you have him when you came to the monastery? This is me asking you, not Douse asking Dusty.
Oh, okay. Dane to Greg, two in-game characters, are talking with. Okay, never mind. 2 out of no
game.
Yes, he
No.
did. He did.
You did? Okay.
Mm-hmm. He did not show it off, so you wouldn't have known about it back then, but he did.
Gotcha. So to Douse's knowledge, Dusty is relatively new.
Yeah.
Relative.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dusty is mostly quiet, but probably halfway through the watch he starts talking. If there's nothing that Douse has to say to him to start a conversation earlier.
He's a little weary because it was like, well, Dusty asked me to join this watch. So clearly there's something he wants to talk about, but he's not going to push it. So he would be making small comments like that every now and then to kind of lighten things a little, but not.
Okay. Yeah, it'd probably go like halfway through the watch. And Dusty would start talking to Douse. He'd say, "Hey, Douse."
Yeah, what's up?
I am intrigued. I don't often ask these sorts of questions, but I have noticed some things before you told us about Wei, about your bracelet. I noticed a few things here and there.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened that normally doesn't. So I could.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're talking about noticing that I had weight before I had mentioned it.
Yes, I wasn't exactly sure. I thought it was possible that you were crazy. I every now and again I would hear you talking to yourself, and I figured perhaps he just processes things that way. I knew a few people, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting. It's good to know. And he nods.
It is certainly a new feeling and situation having a roommate in your own head, you could say.
Yeah. That must be quite, yeah, interesting could be a word for it. Perhaps uncomfortable or scary at times, I'm sure. You had to figure out stuff about Wei on your own.
Yeah. And she's very whimsical, in my opinion. At least. Yeah.
See. And you said you trusted her. Or at the very
She's
least,
helped.
you had trust in her.
Yes, she's helped me out quite a bit, and while I don't know who she is from her actions the past few days, the past week or so, she seems to at least be a trustworthy person, being, entity. Enough so that she's not going to cause any harm to anyone around us.
Good. And you see him he drags his foot through the ground a little bit, looking downwards, and then he snaps back up and he looks towards you again. He says, I don't really have any questions about Wei. It's something else. I'm sorry, I was just looking for something to ease into the conversation. You don't just go sharing that sort of information to people that you plan to leave.
Yes.
Is that still on the table for you?
Not as much. I mean, I still have my pilgrimage I have to do. Eventually, I may be leaving the group to do that. That could be a couple months from now. That could be, I don't know. But at the moment, like I had said, I had talked with the deity's name. I'm like, it's something past.
Junipass.
Junipass. We had the whole thing with Junipass and deity and bringing people back to life, and I gave my word to Junipass that these people that are companions are trustworthy, and I am feeling it is somewhat a responsibility now in so doing that I should stick with you guys and make sure that nothing too terrible happens either because of or to our group, if I can.
See. High or low?
Let's go low.
Okay, I have an in-person die now. This is awesome. I got one from my brother. He handed one over to me. You said low?
Yep.
Okay. So, Dusty, he says, Who is Junipass? You said that she brought back Nuri and Amaris, and you've said that more than once. But who is she? I heard the term goddess, but what is she?
I'm surprised you. I mean, she's very big at the monastery.
Yes, I heard names.
Yeah, understandable.
Terms, but
the religion classes weren't mandatory. So I get that. Sorry.
That was good.
So, of course, she's the being that we worship and that we revere. She stands for peace, and need to find all my notes that on Junipass so I can give an accurate description. There's there was a beep and I thought that was to me.
Do you need some help?
I would love some help.
Junipass is the goddess of peace, reason, and serenity.
Peace, reason, serenity.
It should also be in our player notes in Roll20.
Yep.
Let's see. Is she? It's a good question.
I have I'm very bad at note keeping, where I have them in like 3 different areas, which is horrible.
It's all good.
But yeah. So peace, serenity, and what was the last one?
Reason.
Reason. She's what you would consider a benevolent goddess. I had never really spoken to her personally until a few days ago, which is very rare in my opinion. But there's many stories about her. There's one of her saving children who had fallen off of a rainbow a while back. And that is how we got dolphins. And there's many other stories that you could find in the scriptures and literature about her, but what exactly do you want to know about, might I ask?
I understand that gods and goddesses generally rule over sometimes it's principles, sometimes it's concepts. I understand at least that much. I don't fully comprehend, however, what they are capable of, what they can do. It seems as though Junipas blessed our group with the lives of Nuri and Amaris, which I am grateful for. But I'm just curious to the extent of what they can do.
To my knowledge, there's very little that they can't do. They're gods and goddesses because they're considered to be all-powerful beings. Beings that transcend most boundaries, if not all boundaries, and all limitations.
See.
There's argument for beings that might be older than them or stronger than them, in this sense of you might hear of primordials in certain elemental planes, and other planes might have other beings as well. But
We've
generally,
talked about this a little bit.
Yes. Generally, they are few, if ever, have anything that rival them.
See. Interesting. Well, you ought to teach me something sometime. That could be very useful. Handy to have in my collection.
For sure. I mean, you're welcome to. I'm able to bring people along, I guess, on my pilgrimage. At least, if you want to come along. You've been to one monastery. I'm just going to go visit the others.
Perhaps. Yeah. I suppose. And he kind of like looks. He was looking down towards you, but he kind of looks down towards his feet. He says, "Yeah, I suppose so. Unless I stay here. In the desert. We'll see. I'm not exactly sure. But I do appreciate the offer," and he looks back up towards you.
Well, of course. I mean, currently I'm not hiding anything anymore, so, or at least not much, if there is. He's like losing track of things he's hidden and not. He's like, But
see.
Yeah, you're a good person in my book, so if it helps you out, I'd be happy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well,
Merilla called me out in messages. What happens to liars?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Alrighty.
True.
So,
Yeah.
did you guys want to do anything else on your watch?
Huh? That's pretty much it.
Sorry. Alrighty. Did anyone else want to do anything on their watches or let the night pass?
Merilla just wishes Richard goodnight and then goes to sleep
Okay. Alrighty.
before all that happens. But yeah.
All right. Well, without further ado, morning dawns with that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Morning dawns, guys.
Pretty good. Get up.
We
pack
ride
up.
at dawn.
We ride at dawn. Nice. Yeah, Dusty will saddle up. Get ready to start going.
Knowing that in the morning is when it's coolest, Douse will, instead of pulling out any cooking materials, will vie for just rations.
Yep. Just get out as fast as possible. All right.
Merilla will ride with Dusty again. Oh, I already did that.
Alrighty. So with the same setup, you guys start driving. This sorry. This time, man, it's very dusty in this room. Anyways, so this time you notice that as you guys are going, the soft sand is starting to descend more into rocky bits here and there. It does seem like the ground is a little bit more uncomfortable for the manta rays, for the mantas. But it also seems like it's doable. It's like it's not their favored terrain, but you know, it's fine. They're not getting injured from it.
The rangers outside of their favorite terrain.
Exactly. So you guys make it by midday. You see Dragondale in your sights, and you guys are able to drive on out over there. Yeah.
How
Get
does
to
the town look? What are people doing?
Okay. Oh yeah, because we guys left Dragondale. Yeah, okay. So Dragondale seems a lot better than the last time you guys were here. Because there was a lot going on. But with this, it seems that a lot of the houses have been rebuilt. They have taken a lot more refugees into the city and have given out the empty homes of people who have died, and they have given them to these refugees to live. So the city or the town itself is like a lot larger than the last time you were here. And things seem to be coming back down to being more normal. As you guys enter into the town, let's see, I don't think I wrote down the girl's name, but you actually see the girl who seems to be like walking around a manta kind of near the outskirts of town, and she seems a little like she's got a little sad, like hunched posture. The manta seems very flat, very I mean it's manta ray, it's flat anyways, but droopy. Not as like happy and playful as the mantas that you've been caring for, Douse, have been. This one seems very sad. Mm-hmm.
Is this this is the pack of the girl that we promised to bring the mantas back, right?
Yes. And she was only able to bring one manta with her.
As soon as we could see them, I would bring the car off to the side of the road, and then just gonna unhook them to let them go off to it.
Is everyone else coming off on the side of the road?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. If you see the girl.
Yeah. See the girl?
Alright.
Oh, cool.
You
Mrs.
guys
the girl.
you guys can do that. If you unhook the mantas, you will have to carry the sleds over.
Nuri
Oh.
does not unhook the sled. She will ride the sled over to the gate with Amaris because she can't actually tie.
Douse will
Sounds like
unhook
fun.
it because he just has it fixed in his mind, the joyous reunion of these mantas to get it together. But he wants to see this more than he worries about bringing the sled.
As
Nice.
as your companions are riding their mantas and their sleds over, you kind of pull off to the side and you start to try to unhook the manta, but the manta's kind of like moving away from you to make you not do that.
Okay, fine. He hops back in and lets him. All right.
Fine. We'll make
And
you
the mantas
Lord.
all happily run over, and you see the little girl, she turns and she sees you guys, and the biggest smile comes across her face. And the little manta that she's been like kind of bringing along beside her, you see its antennas kind of perk up a little bit, and then they start like wiggling happily, and the tail is like flapping, and all of your mantas are like going straight for, like gaining speed, going straight for this other manta and the little girl. But they do slow down right beforehand, and before you guys are even able to get off the sleds, like these mantas are all like flopping on each other, and just like you can hear lots of purrs, and the girl is just smiling, and she's like, she turns to you guys, you brought you brought them back. Thank you.
Thank you for letting us use them. They were wonderful.
Oh, I'm sure they were so happy to get the use. She kind of like puts out her arms, and the little baby manta comes and flops on her, and she just like falls to the ground hugging it. And she just goes, Junior, it's so good to see you again. I missed you.
Take good care of them. They've had a long run.
She doesn't really pay attention because she's very happily playing with the manta.
Enthralled.
But you can gather that she will take very good care of these mantas.
We may just want to leave her on her own here.
I mean,
Merilla
yes,
nods.
but she also. I mean, who's going to drive the wagon or the sleds? She doesn't have her parents with her at the moment.
Oh, well, you guys are on the outskirts are like right on the edge of town.
Remember when we first met her, Douse? She was leading the one manta? They'll probably just follow her.
Was that true?
Douse is leaning over there. Do you need us to drive the sleds anywhere, or do you have it from here? Right.
She just laughs as like she's still holding and petting the manta. She's just like, yeah, I got it.
Okay, yeah, we're good. My bad.
I mean, if
Good
you want
job.
to say goodbye, we'll just give you some privacy.
I'll see them
He
later.
like starts hobbling away.
The little baby manta actually like hops off of her, and she's like still smiling as she like slowly gets up. And the little baby manta comes over and like flops on your foot. Douse.
Leans down, he'll pet it and like swirl some water around it with out of the decanter, yeah.
And it just like kind of like flaps its little wings, I guess, flippers. It's like flapping them in its tail, and the antennas are kind of going. It is
Cute.
very happy. And then it goes back to its mama.
All right. I mean, Douse doesn't see this as goodbye. He plans to see them before he leaves town or something.
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
Merilla starts to hobble off.
do
But then
we
she
have?
kinda, like checks herself and she swings back around. And she actually says bye to the mantis. Like puts her hand on one.
And it purrs at your touch.
Dusty will thank the mantis as well. Verbally, as he can't speak to them. He gives them thanks. Appreciate what you've done for us. It was a brave journey you took.
I mean, they just are like vibrating. And
They're vibing.
They're vibing. They seem very happy.
Dusty just kind of chuckles and is like, all right, we'll give him some space.
And Dusty, did you ever add land manta to your list of creatures you can turn into?
Yep.
Okay.
I want to see that happen when we're like on concrete or something.
Flop.
Very good. Very good. Well, where do we go? I suppose the tavern for the night?
Yeah.
We can still
It's
get in.
midday. We can give little piggy to tax.
She's probably asleep by now.
Midday? Oh
It's
wait,
midday.
that time?
Is it
Yes,
midnight?
it is midday.
Okay, midday. Then she wouldn't be asleep. Never mind. I thought it was midnight. That is what I heard. I misheard.
No,
Yeah,
you're good.
we could go check. I never miss an opportunity to stop by the Tough Hammers.
At a game, who has the piggy bank? I know that like Nuri offered it to Dane to take, but then we had the whole conversation about like being ejected into the astral plane and stuff like that. And did we ever clarify who got it?
Douse, I
I
don't
know
think it's
Merilla
like
like made a motion about like she wants to take this to tax, but we never talked about her having it.
it's not in my inventory.
One of you was holding on to it in your bag.
I had picked up the piggy bank originally, and I had suggested Dane put it in his
Scarf.
scarf thing, and everyone was like, no. And then she's like, oh, wait, that's a bad idea. I forgot it could do that because Sierra didn't know what it would do.
Classic.
Let's just say that it
So
was in Nuri's bag.
Then in that case, when we're talking about tax, she'd pull it out and offer it to either Dusty and Merilla, being like, well, which one of you want to give it to her?
Merilla looks at Dusty.
Sure, I can do it. He like accepts the piggy bank, placing it gently into his bag.
Amaris is gonna be like, you guys go on ahead to the Tough Hammers. I'm gonna head off. And she heads off in the direction of the market to see if she can find like flowers or something.
Oh.
Nuri will actually go with you, but instead of flowers, she's looking for like herbs and incenses and stuff that she can burn to bring back her owl.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Dusty
you
will
guys
head
go
over
ahead
to the
and
Tough
do
Hammers
that.
household.
Okay. So, all right. So, Douse, Merilla, and Dusty are all going to the Tough Hammers. correct? Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Alrighty. You guys make your way to the Tuphammer family household.
Very good.
You, Douse and Merilla, you smell the very, very lovely scent of freshly baked bread coming from the doorway and windows.
Merla's walk quickens a little bit.
Douse is more like meandering behind, kind of just absorbing the smell as he goes. Like,
Yum. Okay. Alrighty, and you guys make it to the doorway, which is wide open, actually. And into the little tiny house, you see Girth seems to be baking some bread. Just like through the doorway, you can see straight to the kitchen where she is.
As they approach the door, Dusty kind of like knocks on the open doorway.
You see Girth kind of turns, and she has like a strained smile on her face as she turns, and then when she sees it's you guys, her smile just like becomes natural. And she kind of like stops kneading the dough that she was kneading, and she goes, sorry, I'm trying to remember her voice. Ox, will visit us. Remember her voice. This is so bad.
It was deeper.
Ox.
Well, not deeper than, but it was just
Tux,
her
we have
voice.
visitors.
Attacks.
Tux, we are visitors.
Good.
Now she
I don't remember
still
how deep it
sounds
was.
like her.
Anyway,
I'm gonna have to go back and look at the video to see if I can get her.
she had a certain accent that was very like
Yeah.
step up to the plate or sort of a thing, but she's very kind, so it's like, oh, that's cool.
There was, I remember that there was like something that I would always say to get my head in the mindset of that voice, but I can't remember it because it's been so long since we've been back here, guys.
Yeah, it's
Quick, just start saying random words.
bread.
Bread, yeah.
Bread.
Cooking, or didn't you know that? Or tax, or he's not here yet.
Biscuits.
Tax. My daughter's
Never seen biscuits,
missing.
though.
Oh no.
Who's that?
Who's tax? Yeah, that's
who's
probably
tax?
What
are you talking
about? Talks, we have visitors. We're just gonna go with
Okay,
this
we
for
accept
now.
it.
And then you just hear hear this, and then a little head peeks around the corner, and she's like holding a piece of paper, and she just like drops it as she runs over, and she just jumps up, Dusty, and basically makes it to like, because you're
Can
very
Douse go for the
tall.
interception?
Hmm?
Can Douse go for the interception?
Roll
He's landing at his waist. He's gonna jump like higher than you.
roll acrobatics.
That is a nat 20.
That's
Was
a
that
nat
a natural
20.
20? Wow.
I'm stealing Dusty's hug.
The most
So she-
important natural 20.
Oh my gosh. She goes for like a jump to like hug Dusty's waist because he's so tall. But then Douse, you like jump in the way and you're like, hey, and she just like collapses into a she just collapses into a big hug with you. She
I like
seems a
swing
little
around and I just look at Dusty, like stick my tongue out, and then as I'm like doing like a full circle, and then I put her down and let her go to Dusty.
she kind of laughs and is still smiling, a little confused for a moment, but then she was like, oh, I just hugged Douse, and then she like runs over to Dusty and just like reaches up to Dusty.
Yeah. Dusty will pick her up and give her a hug.
All
Is that the
fun.
first Nat 20 of the session?
Yeah.
Yes.
We technically had a natural one, but it was off a higher low, so I didn't count it.
That's
I
right.
I mean, I had one when I rolled for advantage, but I didn't tell anyone because I had advantage.
Disadvantage. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't count if it was
No.
like that.
So yeah, Dusty, he like
There's
picks
no
up
way of
Tax.
verifying.
He gives her a hug, and he says, "It's good to see you, Tax. We actually have something for you.
For me?
Yes, a little trinket we found along the way.
What is it? Is it a unicorn? And then she looks over at Merilla and she like reaches out towards Merilla for a hug.
Marilla hugs her.
Oh,
No, sadly, it's not a unicorn, but it's probably awfully useful if it's all right with your parents.
Girth kind of like comes over and puts one fist kind of like on her hip, and she's like, "What is this?"
Douse will lean over to her and be like, how much is a good, like, first, what is the word? I had it a second ago.
Allowance?
Yeah, first allowance for tax.
Dusty's like rifling through his bag now.
Allowance? Well, we don't have enough money to give her an allowance. But I mean, whatever I mean, if you're wanting to spare some for her, she'll take whatever. Very sweet
Gotcha.
of you.
I will then lean over to Tax, like, Tax, you're gonna need this. I'll hand her a gold coin.
You had her a gold coin. You see,
I have so much money
So, I
now.
mean, she doesn't even understand yet. Like, what?
You're gonna need this for the gift.
Okay.
She doesn't need to know how much it's worth.
Sierra just messaged into our private chat, dump some platinum at their place.
I mean, if I gave platinum, it would be to the mother, not to Tax.
Yeah. So you gave her a gold piece, and Tax is just like, wow, like it's like shiny, it's cool. Girth
This
is
isn't the
like,
gift. This is something to go with the gift.
So by this time,
sure, Douse? Are you sure, Douse?
Oh, I'm positive. She needs a little bit of coin for this.
Okay.
You'll see why in a sec.
so Dusty pulls out the piggy bank, and he kind of like shows it towards Tax and Girth, as he kind of like sets it down in front of Tax, and he says, "This is your gift. It is a very special gift. It's a little bit more than at first glance may make it seem." And then Dusty will kind of like gesture towards it and just say, "Whenever you're ready, you can put the coin in."
And she kind of like puts the coin, because there's not like a slot in the top. It's like the pig's mouth is open to like store the coins. And she just like puts the coin in its mouth, and it goes in. You hear just like a clatter, like as it falls into the piggy bank, and then you see the pig kind of animates as it starts to like move a little bit. It stretches out. It yawns. It makes this little like noise as it yawns. And then it snorts happily, oinks a little bit, and kind of teeters up, because it was like you set it down on like a table, right, as she's like feeding it. As it kind of like teeters over to the edge, and it's just like oinking and snorting at Tax in a very like lighthearted, playful way, and Tax is in awe. She's like, oh.
See
Like-
that, Tax? Your magic.
She looks at her hands. I'm magic. And Girth's like, her eyes are also even bigger now. She's like, what? That is quite the gift. Are you sure you want to give that to us?
Yeah, I mean, if you're okay with it, it's perfectly harmless.
Yes. Now there's something very cool that Tax can do with it too.
She like goes over to Tax, like leans closer, not like in her space because other people are closest to her. But it's like toward her, she's like,
Tax, have you ever heard of different planes of existence or like dimensions? If not, that's okay.
I'm just imagining trying to explain quantum theory to like a little kid.
So sometimes something's there, but only when you're looking at it. And then if you look away,
it no longer exists.
You know,
Like-
Schrodinger's cat.
Like the multiverse? Like I've seen in all the Marvel movies? She's like, no.
That's all right. Have you ever had a croissant?
I don't know what the world's equivalent of croissants is, but that type of pastry bread.
I've had bread.
That
Lots
works
of
for
bread.
me. Good, bread is pretty fantastic.
It is. Especially when my mom makes it.
Really just like nods like, yep, 100%.
Yeah.
It's true. I had an analogy. It doesn't really work with bread though.
Onions have layers.
they have
Yeah,
layers.
that's the analogy she's going for.
Or
but-
a parfait.
I don't think that the croissants
I
isn't
mean-
gonna work. Parfait's not.
You could just ask her if she knows what the Feywild is, or any of like actually name the
Absolutely not.
planes.
You know what the
I don't-
Feywild is?
Fairies,
know
I'm
anything
no.
about
explain
Feywild?
unicorns, okay?
Are you guys asking her?
No, we're just
No,
talking
no,
about the character right now.
I'm giving, options.
So, Tax. So let's pretend that a loaf of bread is the world that we live on, right?
Okay. She's just kind of like playing with the little pig.
There's the inside of the bread, and then there's the outward crust of the bread, right?
Uh-huh.
Both are parts of the bread, but not exactly the same part, right?
It's just bread.
Ultimately, you are right. Did you know you can make a piggy disappear?
Oh. She like gasps and like actually looks at you this time, and as she like looks at you, she's like, you notice that she was trying to like feed the pig one of her drawings, and it's like refusing to eat it.
That's so funny.
I can
It's
make you
true.
disappear.
It's true, just ask Dusty.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Oh.
You can. That is something you can do with it.
I completely spaced that Nuri's not with us, and she's the one who identified it and can
She's the
explain.
one who identified it. Yes. So Dusty will kind of give a rough explanation of how the magic works. Basically, he'll clarify you don't feed it drawings, you feed it coins. It can dispense coins.
I'm pulling
Yeah.
up the magic item real quick. So okay, but yes, continue.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. That was
it eats
definitely me outing
coins.
myself because I did not remember.
It can dispense coins. You can also have it vanish and reappear.
On command.
Whenever you want.
Yes, you say go to the market, little piggy, and it will go to its extra dimensional plane. And if you say come home, little piggy, it will summon to you.
Yep. Bestial explained that to her. Go to the market, little piggy. Come home, little piggy.
And she goes, go to the market, little piggy, and then it just vanishes. And she goes, she looks over at Dusty and she just like,
Don't worry, it's not gone. It's just not right here anymore.
come home, little piggy. And then poof, it appears again, prancing around.
Out of game, this was a good decision, you guys. This was a good decision. You did good. Good job.
Giving her a little magic piggy bank.
Smart. Good play.
Here we go. The shards of hope added again.
Regan hoped attacks at least once a week.
At least once a week.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But yeah, they'll go over how the magical piggy bank works. At least how to use it. And
Okay.
explains that it only eats coins. And it's a special type of piggy that only eats coins.
And she will nod to that. And she's like, I'll keep feeding it coins. He won't go hungry on my watch.
Make sure you have permission from whoever the coins belong to feed the coins to the piggy.
You should also mention it doesn't actually need to be fed.
Douse would have mentioned, like, you don't need to feed it.
It likes coins.
It likes
to
can
eat coins.
Can I feed him another coin? And she's like reaching out to you guys.
Sure.
Take this back. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were
Destio
made.
reached down
This poor
into
family is
his
gonna go
pack.
broke.
into his
See, ask
pack.
for them back, though.
Yeah, we explained how to get the coins back. Reaches into his pocket and pulls out a gold coin. Hands it to her.
Just gold, you know.
Just another gold. I don't have any chump change. I ain't got no
Douse,
copper.
Douse,
Got no
has,
silver.
Douse would give her a handful of like 20, 30 copper. Like, you can take this and put it in, take it out of the pig.
Okay, she gets 30 copper from you, 1 gold from Douse, or from Dusty, and then 30 copper. And then,
Loaded.
We have just paid this child's college tuition.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we don't know if there was already money inside. Just that, like, it was at least deactivated.
Well, actually, for the pigs, the only way to deactivate it is to empty it of all of its money.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Well,
it had
I will
nothing
say,
inside.
over the week till today, I had not realized that they could send the money back out. So, like, this is the most heartbreaking toy ever. Because to get the money back,
You have to.
I was thinking,
Smash them. That'd be terrible. No, this one is just,
Dang.
it'll give you exact change and like just whatever you need. And so she like feeds the pig the gold coin, and the pig just excitedly like chomps it up, like swallows it down whole, and then it prances around all happy and excited. That's literally a detail in the magic item, that it prances around happily whenever it's fed money.
I'm half waiting for it to
Fantastic.
start turning its nose up to copper coins because it's been fed these like luxurious gold coins.
Bougie gold. The
The
bougie,
bougie
gold.
gold, and then 30 copper. She's like, she now is like very occupied putting the copper into the piggy and watching it dance.
Yep. Dusty actually will turn over to Girth,
Mhm.
and he will he'll kind of like look towards her, and I don't know. He just kind of says, "It's good to see you." He'll like look over and pause, and then that's what he says.
You see that her attention was like watching Pax, and she had this soft smile on her face. But when you turn and you say that to her, she looks back at you. She goes, "Come here," and she just wraps you in this big mama bear hug. And she's like, "It's good to see you too."
Not a game. Really hope nothing bad happens to these people.
Why did you say it?
Every time.
I've said
Every
it before.
time.
I've said it before. I mean, it's too pure. Anyways, so Dusty, he reciprocates the hug, of course, and he like after a moment he like releases and he says, "How has the town been doing? How have the efforts been going to rebuild?"
The town's been doing good. Oh, Dwarves been out helping rebuild as much as they can, and well, we've had a lot of refugees come in. They've been growing the town, but it's a lot different because don't know everybody as used to, but good, we get to know our neighbors a bit. And she kind of like looks over at the bread that she was baking, looks back at Dusty, and she goes, "It's a good thing we've been getting new neighbors because I've been stress baking. I need to deliver these these loaves."
I see. If you'd like, we could give you a hand.
Oh, very kind of you, but I'm sure you all have much bigger things to attend to. And
Side
as she
quest
says that, she
denied. Side quest denied.
side quest yes, side quest denied. She she sets one of the loaves down and actually like slices off a couple um uh slices of bread, pulls out some jams, and she gestures to all of you guys and then pointedly towards Merilla and is like,
Was already reaching.
Well, thank you so much. Haven't had a decent feeling day.
Doesn't even finish the sentence.
exactly, just starts eating it. I love that. Yeah,
That was like looks at Merilla just slightly like, gave you the freshly baked biscuits the other day.
Ignores him.
And
She's
you
after
say
the
I
bread.
lie? That's his thought. It's like,
She didn't lie. And like out of character, she said she hadn't had a decent meal in days.
yeah, I know, but Douse is thinking of the biscuits as like a semi decent thing to eat. So he's like,
But she didn't have any.
but he gave you one. He gave everybody
She
some.
wasn't around.
Oh, was she not by it?
She had walked off from the group before he like passed off, like started passing out the stuff, and then Dusty had offered her one and she denied it. So she actually never got one.
Oh.
that's right.
I had assumed Douse had given her some, but I guess maybe not.
It's
So I
not a
guess
maybe.
add another biscuit on your tally.
Add another biscuit. You have one more biscuit.
I mean,
Yeah, just to clarify that.
it was the whole dozen, so that's why I was like, they're gone.
You got to eat an extra one that day.
Yes. It came back to you. Again,
so she has
you're
a
like,
slice of bread in her mouth and she's putting jam on it as it's still there.
Can't get it in fast enough.
Yeah, no, she's not like using a lot of jam. She's being discreet because she's using some.
Okay. Perfect. And this is prickly pear jam. So this is good jam. Prickly pear is a kind of cactus. Anyways.
Prickly pear for the big papa. Anyway.
Yeah,
um,
Dusty will say, he says, yeah, I suppose you're right. We're going to be headed back to the guild to turn in the quest that we had finished. And he kind of like abruptly pauses there. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
did it go? Going back into the desert and seeing everything. How'd it go?
Yeah. Good. It was good. I mean, we were able to figure some things out. Some important information, especially regarding the jackal bears. And he kind of like cocks his head a little bit, and he's like, just make sure that the town is wary of any jaguars coming. They don't mean harm. They're hungry, or perhaps they don't have a lot of. We'll say they're misguided at the moment. I'm not exactly sure how they'll react, but either way, just be careful.
Well, we'll be careful. Thank you for telling me, but you really should tell this to the the leader. Hold on, I have his name. I was pulling it up real quick and I was trying to
The
read
mayor?
names.
The Dragonborn lead mayor's family?
Yes. The Raxen and the Neroth.
Yes.
The Glixul. The Glixul family. The barons over this place.
Yes. Yeah. We'll make sure to carry the information over there. I just wanted to make sure that you knew personally.
I appreciate that, Dusty. I really do. Thank you. You've kept our family safe, and she looks over at Tax again, and you all have saved my little girl. And you are all family to me. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah. Of course.
And she pointedly turns to Douse. She points at you and she goes, you. Then she points at Merilla and she's like, you. She points at Dusty and she like taps you on the chest and she goes, especially you. You're all family. And then she gets this hard look on her face, you know, this half-orc woman just like, and she's just, don't you forget that.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
I wouldn't dare.
Good. And she turns back and she's like, good. And then she kind of waggles her finger and she goes, and no ancient mind-altering monster is ever gonna take that away. She's like,
so far as she knows, but Marilla's
Merilla's just another false Hydra waiting to come out.
there we go.
It's fine. You said there were at least two. So, I mean, if that wasn't as obvious as it could be, just saying.
Part
Just
2.
saying.
False Hydra part 2. With that, she says that we've had a lot of interesting people coming in and out of the town. It's been real interesting. We had a couple of people return that had visited before. You remember hearing about the person that came in and installed showers in the tavern? Yeah, he
Yes.
came back.
Yes.
He's
What?
back in town.
Is he here now?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
What
Yeah,
is he doing? Do you know?
he's helping rebuild. Blah. He's helping with the rebuilding and everything. He's been pulling out some real big artificery.
Oh.
So he's
We
making,
sh-
he's reconstructing some of the buildings. Is that correct?
A little bit. And some new inventions and whatnot.
You know where he is now?
Probably in the tavern. Yeah, maybe not. It's midday. Maybe he's working somewhere. I don't know exactly where he is, but he's in the town.
Okay.
uh,
It's good to know.
should we go find him?
Yeah. Yes.
No.
Dusty kind of like turns
I
towards
think we should
Merilla.
regroup with everyone and then we should decide what we're all going to do together.
Oh, I suppose you're right. Yeah. Okay. We'll regroup.
Merilla
and
like takes 2 more slices.
like turns back towards Girth.
Well,
Okay.
regardless, we probably should at least report to what's his face, that you just said their name.
The
Elixir
Glixel family.
Glixor family.
Yes.
Before that, because of what he'd mentioned about the Jackawares, and we are family, I want to make sure you guys are safe. So here's a little bit of an emergency fund, and Douse will give her a bag of some more gold coins just to make sure that the family's safe and taken care of.
How many?
Sure, gold, not platinum.
Oh no, there's gonna be 2 platinum in there, but after
Okay.
the reaction of giving her daughter gold and seeing this mother be like that, she doesn't want to just overwhelm her. So
She just
we'll
passes out.
we'll say
How much?
20 gold
20 gold. Oh,
and 2 platinum.
Holy freak. Okay, so you hand her, and she's like,
That's a
I
lot of
can't
money.
accept this.
Yes, you can.
If-
You need to take care of your family. We are family, and we're taking care of you.
Only if you can spare it.
He's gonna like show all the platinum. He's like, we can spare it.
Her eyes are just like,
Sorry.
she sets the bag on the counter and kind of like grabs the counter with her hands and balances herself. She's like, I assume this
Subtle flex.
venture into the desert was very profitable then.
Humble flex.
Yes.
We'll be okay.
Like
She
even
says,
like
"I'm
meanwhile,
fine."
as they're doing that, Marilla's gonna take an extra slice of bread and stand up, and she's like to Dusty as he's offering the money.
Well, I'll leave you two to report to the captain. I'm gonna go find Nuri and Amaris.
And she's gonna shuffle out the door, smile at Tax, and go continue going.
Before you head out, she's like, oh, wait, and she slices a couple more slices of bread and wraps them in a cloth, and she's like, bring these to them for snack.
Do you have an extra loaf, or can I come back and bake one with you?
Thank you. And she goes.
So Merilla leaves. She's like, you can definitely bake one with me later. Here you can
Later,
have
of course.
Yes. Yeah, and she goes, here you can have this one right now.
I
And
only
hands
need the
another
one.
loaf.
Okay.
And then she she wraps up another loaf and hands it to Dusty, and she says, make sure this gets to the Glixwall family.
Yes, of course.
And she kind of like looks back at the stack of gold, and she's still like dumbfounded. But she's like, okay, off you go. Make sure to come back.
Yes, and again, emergency fund.
Yes, yes.
Don't feel like
Don't
you need to
worry,
use it.
It will be very well kept as an emergency fund. I thank you very much, Douse.
You can use it as you please, but I'm just, yeah. I don't want any unsavory eyes drawn towards you guys is all.
Of course. And she seems to kind of put that aside for a moment. She'll put it in the safe for the lockbox later, but right now she's like, whew.
All right, and then Douse heads up.
Okay, alrighty. You guys head on out. And
Dusty gonna save the day?
Sure. Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe not a good idea.
Dusty
Just
going to
casually
save the day?
cause Tax to be a target. Or, yeah, he'd probably think that. He's a pretty wise guy. We'll say he thinks of that. So Dusty's like, oh, and Tax.
She's got like 1 coin left out of the like all the coins you guys have given her to put in. She feeds it to the pig.
Make sure that you keep the pig a secret for you and your family. There could be someone out there who wants the money inside of the pig and won't be very nice to it to get the money.
Oh, okay.
So be careful.
Protect the piggy. That's a good angle.
And you just hear her say, "Go to the market, little piggy," and it poofs away.
Beautiful. Well done. We'll be back, Tex.
And
We'll
okay, come back soon.
Dusty
Just wait for her to
nods,
get older and realize what we gave her.
waves, and Dusty will go with Douse.
As you guys are heading out, you kind of like can faintly hear Girth being like, "All right, Tax, let's put this emergency fund in the pig." She's like, "I think this will be the safest place."
Smart.
Yep.
Should we explain to the mother that the pig only obeys Tax now?
It's
She'll figure it out.
So get it the hard way.
But like, also, it's tax. Taxes on the. Oh my
We just gave Tax like so much money.
She wants a 10% cut of all the income that goes in the piggy bank. She's got
Tax
tax,
is charging
Hey,
Tax.
we did already make the joke
Income
about
tax.
but anyway.
income
still true.
tax.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So-
Export
with that,
tax.
with that beautiful moment, we will conclude tonight's session with Tax very happy with her new little piggy purse friend. Merilla on her way to go gather Nuri and Amaris who went to the market. Dusty and Douse on their way to the Graxwell family to go and inform them of the possible jackalware threat. And with the knowledge that the stranger from before, who had built the showers, the one who had mentioned the alchemist, is now in town. And with that, we will conclude tonight's session. So, yeah. Just remember, guys, that starting September 8th, we are switching to YouTube live streams and moving away from Twitch. Yeah, if you guys really like the Harbingers campaign, support us by purchasing some merch from our website, rosemarypgstudios.com, where you can find our store where we sell tons of Harbingers merch with lots of different custom images and everything. So, how did you guys like the session?
Good. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Honestly, the more I think about this, it was a terrible, terrible idea to give this to Tax. Do you know how much money we're walking around with? We are flipping targets. This was a terrible idea. We need that pig. I digress.
Big.
But how do people know we're carrying that much money?
Jingle, jingle, as we
Jingle,
go.
jingle, jingle.
That, but also Greg
We
keeps
can afford
saying,
to
like,
buy
let's-
something else though that's more discreet than a prancing pig.
That
Yep,
is
that you
literally
can
in its
send the
own
pig into-
dimension until you need it. Oh
Also,
well.
Greg keeps saying like, "Oh, we better hope like nothing happens to this family." We just marked them as a target with how much money we gave them. Granted, that's my fault, but
I was about to say, like,
Outplayed. Outplayed. That was just an outplay we did against the Tough Hammer family. So just casually mark them.
but I mean,
So-
really, who's gonna suspect them of having a lot of money?
Yeah,
I mean,
we do know there's Jackalwares in that town now, so
Douse's thought was if they need to get out of town quick, they might need money to get out of town with. So let's.
And
But
as
why
long
would
as
provide-
they have
Jackalwares
tech,
want
they
money?
have
They
the
just
pig.
steal money for Cleo.
it'll be fine, you guys. It'll be fine. Nothing bad happens in D&D. What are you talking? Come on. Never seen a
Well,
bad thing.
That's funny.
Anyways, we love you guys. Thank you so much for watching with us for this session. I know the trouble with all of the internet has been a struggle, but starting